Chapter 1650. In 1 second remember, there was no pop-up window for free reading. Whoosh, the giant sword soared through the sky, shaking the 9 heavens. Along with the long and narrow crack in the sky, the giant sword, which seemed to be steeped in demonic blood, stabbed towards Chu Hen. It had to be said that Yu Shanin's combo was extremely fast. He could also control the power of samsara as he pleased. Screech, as he sensed the terrifying aura of the giant sword, Chu Hen's eyes trembled faintly, revealing a demonic purple light. Rumble. Immediately after, with Chu Hen as the center, countless huge purple pillars that were like whirlpools of light pierced through the Milky Way. Tens of thousands of purple pillars intertwined and quickly enveloped him. A boundless and domineering aura spread out in all directions. Following the darkening of the blue dome of heaven, the flowing pillars of light that lingered around Chu Hen's body instantly condensed and evolved into an enormous demon god body, as well as an armor that overflowed with brilliant lights. A spectacular visual impact shook the surroundings. An enormous purple demon spirit that was thousands of meters tall immediately appeared in the sky. This was the power of his demon eyes. Everyone below was inwardly shocked. With such a shocking reaction speed, Chu Hen's control over his power wasn't any weaker than Yu Shanin's at all. Almost at the same time, the giant blade with countless shadow wings slashed through the sky. The Nirvana demon spirit raised its arms towards the sky, and a wild and resplendent ring of lightning exploded from its palms. Clang, the sword light shook the heavens with unstoppable momentum. The heaven-punishing demon sword, which was like the Azura blood blade, solidly collided with Chu Hen's palms. Under the tremendous pressure, the Nirvana demon spirit, which was over 1,000 meters tall, was actually suppressed by the power of a meteorite. The enormous demon god's body, pushed by the huge blade, directly fell into the ravine below. Boom! Bang! The instant the Nirvana demon spirit's feet hit the ground, it was as if a star had exploded. The enormous valley shook violently, and the ground cracked inch by inch. Countless rocks of various sizes flew into the sky. Roar! The Nirvana demon spirit let out a demonic roar. An unparalleled aura was mixed with the purple light pillar that stirred the surroundings. Bang! With a loud explosion, the storm raged and flowed, and the Azura demonic sword, which was emitting a terrifying aura, directly exploded. Billions of crystal fragments flew across the sky. The Nirvana demon spirit was like an ancient god of war. His eyes under his helmet pulsated and 8 black dots appeared in the depths of his pupils. At this moment, Chu Hen seemed to be observing the world through the eyes of the devil spirit. It was as if it had become one with the Nirvana devil spirit. This is demonic spirit void. It's been a long time since I've seen anyone from the Demon I Saint clan use this move. Demonic spirit void form. It was a fusion technique between the main body and the Nirvana demon spirit. When using this technique, not only would the deity have the super strong attack and defense power of the demon spirit, but the movement and reaction speed of the demon spirit would also reach the same degree as the deity. 1 + 1 was definitely greater than 2. It's the demonic spirit void form. The demonic I Saint clan members were excited to see this. They couldn't remember the last time they saw a demonic spirit void. Although Heavenly Lone Star Guard Li Wushang and Heavenly Wolf Star Guard Rao Failwan both had 8-star demon eyes, their bloodlines were not strong enough to become one with the Nirvana demon spirit. Looking at the entire demon I Saint clan, the only one who could demonic spirit void was probably the 4th elder. However, the 4th elder hadn't participated in a battle for a long time. Demonic spirit void? Interesting. Yu Shanin stood proudly in the sky and looked down at the Nirvana demon spirit with evil eyes. But this is only the 3rd move. The moment he finished speaking, Yu Shanin's eyes narrowed. A chilling netherworld aura suddenly erupted from the bottom of the canyon. Nether Dao, Ghost Lord Bloody Hand, amidst the flying rocks, a bony hand shrouded in a cold light forcefully broke through the ground. It was like a ferocious ghost hand reaching out from the depths of hell, holding a monstrous amount of rage as it slammed towards the Terminator demon spirit. The power of the nether Tao of the six paths of reincarnation. Looking at this scene, Yen Hanyu of the Burning Heaven Saint clan paled slightly. He'd lost to Yu Shinin's move before. In particular, Yu Shinin had held back during the battle and hadn't used his full strength. The huge bony netherworld ghost hand stirred up a dense, cold aura and descended with the momentum of covering the sky. The Nirvana demon spirit's eyes narrowed and it leapt backwards. Bang! The gigantic withered bone ghost hand slammed solidly on the ground. The powerful shockwave spread out like a raging tsunami, rushing majestically into the auditorium and pouncing on everyone's faces. The ground of the canyon immediately caved in and a huge palm print appeared. Kacha! Rumble! Then, accompanied by the crisp sound of bones rubbing against each other, the rocks on the canyon floor cracked once more. Soon after, under the shocked gazes of the tens of thousands of people present, another colossus crawled out from the ground. Hiss! Oh my God! In an instant, the spectators all sucked in a breath of cold air. It was a huge skeleton, but it didn't seem weak at all. Its entire body burned with a cold, ghostly green flame. Its eye sockets were like black whirlpools, emitting a dense, eerie aura. It didn't look like an ordinary skeleton at all. Even without the support of flesh and blood, this skeleton still looked ferocious and domineering, like a judge from hell. Is this the full appearance of the Ghost Lord of the Nether Tao? Yen Hanyu's eyes flickered. Previously, in the high firmament platform's competition area, a single bony hand was enough to end him on the stage. Now Yu Shinin had actually summoned the entire Ghost Lord. To Chu Hen, this was the other party's luck. It was also his misfortune. Ha! The ferocious and terrifying Nether Ghost Lord let out an ear-piercing shriek. The formless sound wave spread out, and the spectators couldn't help but cover their ears. Meanwhile, the Nirvana demon spirit in front of him faintly trembled, and the purple demonic flames around its body swayed uneasily. Whoosh! Then, the Nether Ghost Lord crossed the distance of 100 meters and instantly arrived in front of the Nirvana demon spirit. As he reached out with his huge bony hand, an incomparably sharp bone spike suddenly grew out of his palm. No matter how strong the Nirvana demon spirit's defense was, it couldn't directly resist the power of the Samsara sacred body's bloodline limit. From the spectator's point of view, Chu Hen still had to focus on dodging. But at the same time, Yu Shinin unknowingly stretched out his left hand and clenched it in the direction of Chu Hen. An astonishing spatial rhythm immediately spread out from his fingertip. Nether Tao, Ghost Ho's Edge. Whoosh! Whoosh! Along with the sharp sound of the ground being torn apart, peerlessly sharp spikes shot out from the ground to the left and right of the Nirvana demon spirit. The huge spikes were curved, like the ribs of a giant. Under many horrified gazes, the arc-shaped bone spurs that grew from both sides were like the spikes of a Venus flytrap, attacking from both sides. The purple demonic flames around the Nirvana demon spirit were quickly pierced. Even its colorful armor was pierced through. The sharp aura was unstoppable. The Nirvana demon spirit's especially huge body was immediately firmly imprisoned on the ground. At the same time, the bone spike that grew out of the Nether Ghost Lord's bony hand suddenly rushed forward. The Nirvana demon spirit's demonic purple eyes quickly became sharp. Whoosh! In the next moment, the ice-cold bone spike pierced through the layers of purple flames with a biting cold murderous aura, and then came to a steady stop in mid-air. Chapter 1651. Chi, the bone spur that originated from the Lord of Hell's palm, exploded with a series of murderous aura. Under countless shocked gazes, the sharp bone spike instantly pierced through the layers of purple demonic flames and lightning pillars, and then firmly stopped in the air. Hua! A circle of mighty chi patterns spread out between the two. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. He caught it. The Terminator demon spirit's palm grabbed the Lord of Hell's bone palm first. The The sharp bone spur that came from the palm passed through the gap between the fingers of the Terminator demon spirit. The sharp tip was less than half a meter away from the Terminator demon spirit's throat. To the two enormous beings that were more than 10,000 feet tall, the distance of half a meter was no less than the gap between fingers. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. Chu Hen actually dared to receive his opponent's attack. If he was one step slower, or if the bone spur in the Lord of Hell's palm had grown a little longer, the Terminator demon spirit's throat would have been pierced through. Bang! In the next second, the Nirvanic demon spirit's other arm suddenly exploded with an incomparably violent lightning radiance. The punch, which contained a heaven-shattering power, heavily struck the middle of the Netherworld Ghost Lord's sternum. Along with a violent cracking sound, bone fragments splashed everywhere, and a whirlpool of light spread out. A huge hole was instantly blasted open on the huge skeleton's chest. Oh my God! Everyone's eyes were wide open. The counterattack was so fast. Just a second ago, Chu Hen had received the opponent's attack, and in the next instant the counterattack followed. Rampaging lightning bolts flickered between the Nirvana demon spirit's palms and arms, like rampaging lightning python spirit vines. The skeleton's spine was broken. One could well imagine how powerful that strike was. This guy? Yan Hanyu of Burning Sky Saint Clan clenched his fist. Chen Jingfeng of Star Saint Clan, Tingyu of Nine Serenities Building, Yao Yong of Wilderness and many other geniuses of the strongest holy clans felt the difference between them and Chu Hen. However, the Lord of Hell's skeleton didn't fall down or disintegrate after the lightning strike. Along with an ear-piercing laughter, its empty eye sockets were filled with thick blood light. Gotcha! Then, something unexpected happened. Its bony hand gripped tightly onto the Nirvana demon spirit's arm. Then, its ribs opened outwards like a giant mouth of a man-eating flower. The ribs immediately grew longer, wrapping around the Nirvana demon spirit from both sides. Gotcha! The opened ribs closed again. Like a sawtooth on a Venus flytrap, it firmly clamped onto the Nirvana demon spirit's body. A steady and heavy wave of chi stacked up. In an instant, the Nirvana demon spirit was not only sealed by the Nether Dao, Ghost Domain's edge, that rushed out from both sides of the ground, it was also imprisoned by the Nether Ghost Lord's ribs. Other than its head, the rest of the fated destruction demon spirit couldn't move at all. What a pity! Looks like you won't last more than 5 moves. At the same time, a frivolous and disdainful sneer came from the sky. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. The faces of the Demon Eye Sacred Clan, Mount Kunliu, and the martial sect changed slightly. Not good. Suddenly, an extremely powerful energy wave spread in the sky. Yushinin's palms faced downwards. A ball of black light rapidly expanded in front of his palms. Soon, the whirlpool of light turned into a large cylindrical pillar of light. The incomparably terrifying penetrative force caused the surrounding area to tremble faintly. Human Tao, blade of the great extreme north. It was like the end of destruction. Whoosh! The rapid airwaves and wind were torn apart layer by layer, and the extremely sharp cylindrical light pillars were like auroras that pierced through the sky, dragging a destructive force that could destroy the heavens and the earth as they struck downward. Obviously, Yushinin intended to destroy the Nether Ghost Lord and Nirvana demon spirit that he had summoned with this attack. Unavoidable! Unavoidable! The Terminator demon spirit couldn't move at all under the double shackles of the Ghost Blade Edge and the Lord of Hell. From everyone's point of view, Chu Hen's best option was to separate from the Terminator demon spirit's body. Otherwise, he would die. However, when faced with Yushinin's deadly attack, the Heavenly Dragon King's body trembled. Chu Hen didn't leave the Terminator demon spirit's body. The latter raised its head, the only thing that could move, and let out a sharp howl. Whoosh! Suddenly, with the Terminator demon spirit as the center, a dozen enormous pillars of demonic flame shot out in all directions. Like the gathering of a storm, the peerlessly powerful pillars of flame intertwined with each other in a spiraling manner, immediately transforming into a giant demonic flame dragon to meet the attack. Roar! The demonic flame dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it roared. The instant the two collided, an earth-shattering explosion resounded in the void. The peerlessly sharp black light pillar directly pierced through the giant dragon formed by the purple demonic flames. From start to finish, the demonic flame dragon's body was like a string of exploding firecrackers. One after another, flames soared into the sky, exploding in the sky above the Grand Canyon competition zone. Waves of air surged, and the world lost its color. The killing move that Yushinin released could be said to be unstoppable. At the same moment when the demonic flame dragon was pierced through and exploded, the Nirvana demon spirit opened its mouth. Accompanied by a myriad of interweaving lightning bolts, the formless emperor blade immediately flew out of its mouth with a loud whoosh. Chi-chi, as it moved at high speed, an unending stream of lightning surrounded the formless emperor blade, turning into a huge shadow-wing sword pillar. Dazzling and resplendent. Bright and bright. Kwang, following that, the black pillar of light collided with the formless emperor blade, which was surrounded by lightning punishment. The collision of power in that moment was enough to explode the 9 heavens. The endless light from the explosion tore through the sky. The black light and the purple-green lightning pillar were like meteorites in the night sky. The furious shock waves caused the sky to collapse and the earth to cave in. Although the area where the two forces collided was less than 100 meters above the Nirvana demon spirit, and the residual power was extremely violent, the Nirvana demon spirit's strong defense was able to barely withstand it. The Grand Canyon competition zone was overturned. The sky and earth were turned upside down. The spectators from the various races unconsciously furrowed their brows. It was actually blocked by Chu Hen again. It was still 2 moves against Yushinin's 1 move. Even though it seemed a bit forceful, in a situation where it couldn't move at all, this kind of super reaction speed and the level of connection between skills were flawless. Thousand lightning escape. Suddenly, Chu Hen's voice came from the Terminator demon spirit's throat. Crack! The moment he spoke, streaks of lightning slanted in all directions, like sharp wooden stakes that pierced through the ground, crisscrossing each other. The Netherworld Ghost Lord's skeleton was continuously pierced by the violent purple lightning pillars. The Netherworld Ghost Lord's skeleton, which was pierced by thousands of sharp lightning pillars, instantly became as weak as rotten wood. As an intense purple storm spread out from the Terminator demon spirit's body, the Netherworld Ghost Lord that was clamping down on its body immediately disintegrated. It split into pieces and shattered into pieces. Immediately after, the Terminator demon spirit raised 1 arm into the sky and directly grabbed at the chaotic storm in the sky. Whoosh! The formless imperial blade that was floating in the sky seemed to be mysteriously summoned, and its entire body shone with a bright and resplendent talisman radiance. When the formless imperial blade landed in the Terminator demon spirit's hand, it suddenly transformed into a giant sword that was hundreds of meters long. The sword flashed. The Terminator demon spirit waved the giant blade in its hand, directly cutting off the demon edge on its left and right. Then, like a peerless god of war, the Terminator demon spirit soared into the sky, raised the shadow wings formed from the formless imperial blade, and slashed at Yushinin. If that's all you've got, I'm afraid you're going to lose. Chapter 1652. If that's all you've got, I'm afraid you're going to lose. Chi waves overturned the heavens, just like the war god. The Nirvana demon spirit leapt into the air, raised the enormous sword in its hand, and furiously slashed at Yushinin. Wind and thunder rumbled, and lightning pierced through the sky. Blinding light quickly pressed down on Yushinin's head. The power of lightning was like a divine punishment descending upon the world. Yushinin's cold eyes turned cold. He stretched out a single palm, and a ripple-like ring of light rose from his palm. Boom! A violent explosion reverberated through the sky, and endless rays of light exploded in the sky. Yu Sheniying's body suddenly shook. The terrifying power from the Nirvana demon spirit's sky-splitting blade was completely unleashed on Yu Sheniying's body. Along with the sunken, distorted space, Yu Sheniying was sent flying. Heavens! Everyone outside the Great Valley was shocked. Since yesterday, this was the first person who could force Yu Sheniying to leave his original spot and counterattack after 5 moves. Rapid waves of air flowed wantonly, and Yu Sheniying, who had been struck by the sky-splitting blade, rapidly fell. However, Yu Sheniying's expression did not change much. As he fell, the samsara force around him formed a whirlpool of light that spun around him. But at the same time, the arrogant Nirvana demon spirit in the sky had already raised the sky-splitting blade in its hand. Along with the storm, a terrifying sword aura swept out in all directions and enveloped the area below. This is, the expressions of the various geniuses changed. In an instant, an endless storm of sword energy suddenly condensed in the sky behind the Nirvana demon spirit, forming an illusory azura several thousand meters tall. Blue light overflowed everywhere, and an icy aura shook the world. The Nirvana demon spirit waved the formless emperor blade in its hand, and a storm of thousands of swords pounced towards Yu Sheniying. As it moved, the murderous illusory sword formed a blue sword pillar. Nirvana, limitless sword, the dazzling sword radiance illuminated every corner of the Great Valley, and the storm of swords instantly sealed Yu Sheniying within. A trace of shock finally appeared on Yu Sheniying's calm and aloof face. Hiss! An incomparably powerful halo immediately exploded in midair, and the terrifying sword pillar pierced through hidden Yu Sheniying's body with the might of thunder. Under countless shocked gazes, Yu Sheniying was smashed deep into the ground by the sword. Boom! Boom! The incomparably violent impact reached thousands of feet deep into the ground, and a huge pit was pushed forward in all directions by the violent force. Layers of lush bushes were flattened. The long river was cut off from the middle. Billions of rocks were sent flying into the sky, dancing in the air. Sensing the terrifying aura coming from the sword, everyone's expressions changed again. Fortunately, the battlefield for the finals was wider. If it had been at the Lingxiao rooftop area yesterday, Chu Hen's sword would have disintegrated the entire Lingxiao rooftop in an instant. Many gazes were filled with shock as they looked at the Nirvana demon spirit that stood proudly in the sky. He was like a god of war. Using the demon spirit void form, Chu Hen's killer move had once again improved, and its explosive power had multiplied. There seems to be a change. The hearts of the spectators began to waver. Chu Hen's strength had exceeded countless people's expectations. Of course, most people still insisted on their previous conclusion. Impossible. Yu Sheniying will not lose. That's right. I'm afraid the real battle has only just begun. It had only just begun. Boom. However, at this moment, a series of landslides and tsunamis erupted from the huge sinkhole abruptly. One after another, huge, dark red pillars of light shot up into the heavenly river like towering lava. A vicious, beastly aura that caused everyone's hearts to tremble was released. Everyone's eyes widened. Their heartstrings tightened again. This time, since you've endured 5 moves, I am willing to give you the highest respect. Yu Sheniying's cold voice was deep and heavy, as if it came from the throat of a wild beast. Bang! Next, an extremely powerful and surging wave of air spread out. Yu Sheniying's entire body was enveloped in a dark curtain of light. Under countless shocked gazes, the curtain of light quickly solidified. Sharp forelimbs, sturdy hind legs, and a dozen or so serpent-like tails stretched out. Beast Tao, dead beast void form, boom! The violent power caused the ground to crack inch by inch. Countless spiderweb-like cracks extended to the edge of the Great Canyon competition zone. Everyone's hearts trembled at the same time. Under countless fearful gazes, Yu Sheniying's ferocious body immediately grew to a height of 3,000 meters. Then, giant skeletons condensed one after another around his body. external skeletons, like armor. From afar, he gave people the feeling that he was the incarnation of a grim reaper, ferocious and furious. Beast Tao. Dead beast void form. Demon eye. Demon spirit void form. At this moment, the Great Canyon competition zone was like a confrontation between an ancient god of war and a grim reaper of hell. Everyone felt their blood boil. They all clenched their fists, their eyes burning with intense anticipation. He's finally here. Yu Shenying is finally getting serious. Fen Tian, Xing Chen, God Eye, Chaos, 9 Underworlds, Demon Eye, and many other monstrous geniuses of the sacred clans also had solemn expressions. Dead Beast Void Form. Emo Nanquan of the devouring sacred clan clenched his fists so hard that his knuckles cracked. He could clearly feel the murderous intent radiating from Yu Shenying that he had never shown before. He can actually force you to this extent? Swish. In an instant, Yu Shenying, who had transformed into the Grim Reaper beast, exploded with extreme speed and offense, charging towards Chu Hen, who had merged with the Nirvana demon spirit. The Nirvana demon spirit's cold purple eyes flickered with a cold light. Facing the menacing Grim Reaper beast, it did not show any fear. It raised its sky-splitting blade to meet the attack. Bang! One above and one below, the two collided like meteorites. The void trembled and the space shook. The Nirvana demon spirit's sword slashed at the Grim Reaper beast's sharp claws. Sparks flew and dazzling light filled the air. Then, the Grim Reaper beast leaped into the air and flashed above the Nirvana demon spirit. Its giant tail was like a chain that traversed the sky, imbued with a dense evil aura as it attacked the Nirvana demon spirit. Bang, bang, bang! The Nirvana demon spirit waved the giant sword in its hand. After slashing 4 or 5 of the giant tail attacks, the remaining tails struck the chest of the Nirvana demon spirit like straight beams of light. Every giant tail contained an extremely ferocious explosive power. The consecutive attacks caused the Nirvana demon spirit to fall from the sky and land heavily on the ground of the canyon. However, the Grim Reaper beast did not intend to give the Nirvana demon spirit any chance to catch its breath. The Grim Reaper beast opened its mouth full of sharp teeth. A black, pointed pillar of light immediately shot out from its mouth. Whoosh! The extremely sharp, pointed pillar of light tore through the sky, exploding with extremely terrifying penetrative power. It was as fast as a laser beam. The Nirvana demon spirit's eyes turned cold. In a hurry, it immediately flew back. Hiss! The black pillar of light instantly penetrated thousands of feet underground, causing millions of rocks to dance. However, the pointed black pillar of light did not disappear. The Grim Reaper beast quickly moved its head. The merciless pillar of light was like a line of death, chasing after the Nirvana demon spirit. Wherever the black pillar of light went, the ground of the Grand Canyon was like a piece of tofu. It was quickly cut open. The depth of the light's attack reached thousands of feet underground. The hearts of the spectators were in their throats. What a terrifying power! The dead beast void transformation is truly terrifying. As expected of the strongest saint body bloodline, the Samsara saint body. Who can compare? Chapter 1653. After 10,000 years of trials and tribulations, the Demon Eye Saint clan had returned to the finals. The Reincarnation Saint clan had won 9 consecutive victories and won the overall championship. At this very moment, at the summit of the Great Canyon, in the final competition zone of the Sacred Clan Conference, Chu Hen, who had merged with the Nirvana demon spirit, was engaged in a heart-shaking battle with Yu Shenying, who had transformed into the Grim Reaper beast. This battle, it was beyond everyone's expectations. It tugged at everyone's heartstrings. Before this, the Reincarnation Saint clan's Yu Shenying had dominated the entire arena and was about to ascend to the top of the competition zone. No one expected that Chu Hen would appear out of nowhere and bring the atmosphere to an unprecedented climax. Bang! Boom! The dead beast and the demon spirit both turned into nothingness. The two behemoths were like ancient war gods and peerless ferocious beasts fighting each other. The grim Reaper beast's entire body was covered in white bone armor, and its massive head was even more sinister and frightening. An extremely destructive death ray shot out of its mouth, like a sharp cutting aurora, and chased after the Nirvana demon spirit. The ground of the Grand Canyon was constantly cut thousands of feet deep, like a piece of tofu. Continuous lines of scratches covered the surface of the ground. This power, tsk, it makes my scalp go numb. The burning sky St. Clan's Yen Hanyu frowned deeply, his face slightly pale. Beside him, Chen Jingfeng's face was also filled with fear. It seems that Yu Shinin really went too easy on us. Hee. Yen Hanyu shook his head and laughed bitterly. Looking at the deathly ray that chased after the Nirvana demon spirit, splitting apart the soil and rivers, there was no doubt that even the two of them would be mercilessly sliced into two if they were struck by this ray of deathly light. The spectators and members of the various races felt their heartstrings tighten, their faces full of nervousness. They were afraid that Yu Shinin would accidentally shoot the death ray out of the arena. That would result in many casualties. Fortunately, the Great Canyon competition zone was extremely vast. Even though the two people in the arena had already transformed to thousands of meters tall, they still had enough space to move around without harming the others below. That Yu Shinin is really too strong. Big Brother Chu Hen seems to be on the defensive. In the spectator seats where Yi Yao was, everyone was also anxious. Even Li Wushang, who'd always been calm, couldn't hide the seriousness on his face. The limit of the 8-star demonic eye bloodline was more or less a stretch against the samsara sacred body that had gone through 8 samsara tribulations. After all, the samsara sacred body was publicly recognized as the strongest of the 10 sacred clans. On the 10-direction Emperor's throne platform, the great emperors seemed to be very interested in the battle before them. He's gradually falling into a disadvantageous position, Burning Heaven monarch murmured. The other great monarchs had different expressions. There was even a hint of regret in his voice. After all, if the Reincarnation Saint clan won another championship, the other clans would have to worship the Reincarnation Emperor as their leader. This was not what they wanted to see. It's already extremely rare for a peak quasi-emperor to be able to withstand an emperor for so long. Furthermore, he's facing an emperor who has gone through 8 samsara tribulations. The Great Star Emperor revealed Chu Hen's true cultivation in one go. At the same time, his preference for the outcome of this battle could be read from his words. Although the scale of victory was leaning towards Yu Shinin's side, the Reincarnation Emperor still sat in his seat like a statue and quietly watched the battle progress. His eyes were deep and calm like a deep well. One couldn't even sense the ripples at the bottom of the well. He gave people the feeling that he was more of a spectator than any of the ordinary spectators. It was as if he didn't care at all whether Yu Shinin won the 10th championship or not. Without a doubt, this kind of person was terrifying. He was so powerful that even the people around him couldn't see through him. Even the great emperors of the sacred clans around him couldn't guess what the Reincarnation Emperor was thinking. It was hard to imagine what would happen to the human race if the Reincarnation Emperor held the Celestial Emperor token. Would it be a blessing? Would it be a disaster? No one could guess it. They couldn't see anything from the Reincarnation Emperor at all. As the battle intensified day by day, everyone had a new understanding of Chu Hen's cultivation and strength. He's definitely at the peak of the quasi-emperor realm. What a pity. If he was at a higher level, the result might be hard to predict, someone sighed. Yeah. It's been a long time since such a monstrous genius has appeared in the Demon Eye Sacred Clan. If we wait a few more years, he'll definitely be on par with Yu Shinin. There's no other way. We can't wait that long. This Sacred Clan conference is too unfriendly to the Demon Eye Sacred Clan. Many people subconsciously looked at the Thunder Emperor, who was sitting on the Emperor's throne platform. At this moment, He was still sitting firmly on the Demon Eye Sacred Clan Emperor's seat. Although his expression was cold, it couldn't hide the domineering aura of a ruler. Bang! On the Great Canyon arena, a piercingly cold aura made everyone nervous. At this moment, the deathly light that came from the Death God Beast's mouth quickly drew a huge circle around the Nirvana Demon Spirit. Bang, bang, bang! When the complete circle was formed, the ground around the Nirvana Demon Spirit cracked and caved in. Then, an enormous and terrifying suction force enveloped the area below. Under many shocked gazes, the circle where the Nirvana Demon Spirit was actually broke free from gravity. Millions of rocks rose from the ground. Rocks, grass, and trees of all sizes flew into the sky. Along with an incomparably majestic gust of wind, the ground cracked layer by layer. The rock wall beneath the Nirvana Demon Spirit was like a suspended mountain. It was as if an invisible hand had pulled it out of the depths of the ground. Oh my God! Everyone's hearts trembled. What kind of power was this? As the rock wall beneath them rose into the air, the Nirvana Demon Spirit and the giant standing on the mountain peak was also pulled towards the Death God Beast in the sky. Jie Yushinin, who had transformed into the Death God Beast, let out an ear-piercing shriek. His scarlet eyes looked down at the Nirvana Demon Spirit. You really don't know anything about power. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, a dozen or so giant tails pierced through the sky like iron chains, tearing through the air. Bang, bang, bang. One after another, the tails embedded themselves into the edges of the rock wall, sealing off all of the Nirvana Demon Spirit's escape routes like a cage. You're the first person I've ever wanted to kill. You should feel honored, honored. The Death God Beast's vicious aura soared into the sky, and it was extremely violent. After that, it spat out another laser-like death ray from its ferocious mouth. This time, the Nirvana Demon Spirit had nowhere to retreat. It was as if it was trapped in a fixed cage. Not good. The faces of the Demon Eye Clan, Mount Kunliu, and the martial sect all paled. Suddenly, at the same time that the death ray cutting ray swept up a boundless killing intent and piercingly cold aura and descended, a wind blade that was spinning at a high speed actually flew over from the other side of the void. Hiss, like a beam of light that pierced through thousands of years, the 300-meter-wide wind blade traversed the sky and actually cut off a few of the Death God Beast's tails on the left side of the Nirvana Demon Spirit. The tails of the dead beasts that were cut off were like giant pythons that had been cut off. The opposite pulling force immediately caused the mountain-like rock wall beneath the Nirvana Demon Spirit to tilt to the left. That is... Everyone was shocked again and again. Before anyone could react, the Nirvana Demon Spirit's figure moved, and it directly flashed out from the opening on the left. The moment it leaped off the rock wall, the laser-like black ray, like the light of the Death God's scythe, instantly struck down. Boom! The mountain-like rock completely exploded in less than a second, like a meteorite that had burst from the middle. Dense rubble flew everywhere, mixed in the chaotic storm, covering the sky and earth. Feeling the extremely ferocious and violent airflow, everyone felt their scalps go numb. The power of the Beast Dao was truly too terrifying. If Chu Hen had been any slower, the Nirvana Demon Spirit would have been directly cut in half. Wait, where did that wind blade come from? After helping Chu Hen dodge Yushinin's sure-kill attack by a hair's breadth, everyone's attention once again turned to the direction where the wind blade had come from. Whoosh! All they saw was a monstrous evil aura that was not inferior to the Death God Beast's, gathering like a storm in the sky above the Great Canyon competition zone. Tens of thousands of beautiful runes and secret scrolls were like countless stars in the night sky. A malevolent evil creature in the shape of a giant tree entered everyone's sight without any warning. That's runes, the power of. Chapter 1654. 1 second to remember. Wonderful pop-up window free reading. What's that? Spell symbol power? Hua. The incomparably beautiful spell symbols were like thousands of spirit butterflies fluttering between the sky and the earth. The ferocious evil creature with the shape of a giant tree stood in the air, its 4 sharp claws stepping on the strong swirling air patterns. Everyone below the stage was shocked and astonished. Many people narrowed their eyes. This is a talisman beast? Why is it different from the one we saw in the War God Palace last time? Back then, Chu Hen had fought against the War God Palace in the inner province of Midland and exposed the existence of the talisman beast. It was no secret that Chu Hen cultivated both spirit and martial arts and was also a spell symbol caster. However, what was surprising was that the huge creature in front of them, which was releasing a monstrous evil aura and strong spell symbol power, was quite different from the original talisman beast. It was both good and evil. Dark and evil. The talisman beast did not give them much time to calm down and think. Its ice-cold eyes shone with a cold light. Then, the talisman beast's 4 claws rose into the air and suddenly exploded with an extremely shocking speed. It raised a surging evil aura and pounced towards the dead beast, Yushinin. Hee, the Grim Reaper beast let out a sinister laugh. Another thing that doesn't fear death. As soon as it finished speaking, the death god beast attacked without any fear. 2 hasty afterimages appeared in the air as the 2 huge, evil beasts clashed head-on. Bang! When the 2 collided, it was like 2 meteorites had unexpectedly met each other. The violent beast energy intersected with the surging runes, exploding the heaven and earth. However, in terms of explosive power, the dead beast's illusory Yushinin was clearly stronger. The talisman beast was actually sent flying by the attack of a tremendous force. However, as the talisman beast retreated, it opened its abyss-like mouth and countless dazzling spell symbols instantly formed a complicated and mysterious large talisman formation. The talisman formation appeared under the death god beast's body and instantly started operating. Hua, with the Grim Reaper as the center, an incomparably berserk tornado suddenly appeared. The tornado stirred the sky, stirring the clouds and surging wind. It was mixed with countless extremely sharp spiral wind blades. His chi. The concentrated and sharp wind blades were like a huge meat grinder, leaving long and narrow cuts on the Grim Reaper's body. However, the cut only lasted for a moment before it quickly healed. You're too naive to think that you can hurt me with this level of strength, Yushinin's arrogant voice rang out from the death god beast's throat. However, just as he finished speaking, a strong spatial rhythm leaked out from the eyes of the Nirvana demon spirit in the sky above. Demonic flame storm. Chu Hen's voice came from the mouth of the Nirvana demon spirit. Screech. An icy aura spread out in the sky along with a sharp whistle. A ball of purple flames appeared out of nowhere in the storm that enveloped the death god beast. The domineering purple demonic flame of desolation immediately dyed the layers of tornado. In an instant, the originally green hurricane tornado pillar suddenly turned into a bright purple storm. What's that? Looking at the spectacular scene in front of them, the people from the various clans were stunned. What an impressive fusion of wind and fire! Yen Hanyu of the Burning Heaven Saint clan exclaimed. Wind. It could be used to extinguish a fire. But at the same time, it could also cause the fire to spread even faster. With the help of the hurricane rune technique, created by the talisman beast, the purple demonic flame instantly burned the sky. The incomparably huge purple flame storm emitted a terrifying aura that could crush everything. Countless dense spiral wind blades also turned into purple flaming wind blades, slicing and killing the sturdy body of the death god evil beast in all directions. Hiss! Crack! The white bone armor covering the death god beast's body exploded under the impact of the demonic flame wind blade. Long and narrow wounds crisscrossed and tore at the other party's body. Heh! The death god beast roared fiercely, as if it was a wild beast that was trapped within. Everyone who witnessed this scene felt a chill run down their spines. Chen Jingfeng, Yen Hanyu, Mo Nanquan, and many other monstrous geniuses from the strongest sacred clans were breaking out in cold sweat. If it was them, they would probably be instantly devoured by the sky-scorching tempest. Human Tao, divine repulsive force. The death god beast, which was riddled with wounds from the endless vortex blades, roared. Hiss, as soon as it finished speaking, it raised its head high, and an extremely violent and invisible shockwave instantly erupted from the death god beast's body. The surrounding space immediately distorted and caved in. The terrifying repulsive force was like ripples on the surface of water. In an instant, the majestic purple wind pillar that filled the heavens and earth directly exploded from within. The vast purple halo was like a star breaking apart. The heavens and earth darkened, and the 9 heavens lost their color. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the purple flame hurricane that threatened to pierce the heavens enveloped the entire sky above the Great Canyon competition area with an earth-shattering momentum, sweeping out in all directions. Rumble, thunder rumbled and lightning flashed, as if 10,000 horses were galloping towards them. The wind and clouds surged, as if a raging tsunami was about to arrive. The various clans outside the Great Canyon competition area immediately felt as if they were at the scene of doomsday collapsing. Their faces were ashen, and their minds trembled. Many of those with weaker cultivations felt their blood churn and their scalps go numb from the aftershocks. Blood mist rose from the death god beast that Yushinin had transformed into as it overturned the wind and fire combined attack. The bone armor on its body was already broken in many places, but the countless long and narrow cuts on its body were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Buzz, however, before Yushinin had any chance to catch his breath, the distant rune beast's eyes once again glowed with a brilliant rune light. Tens of thousands of complicated runes flickered in the air behind the death god beast. 2 blue halos of light appeared behind the death god beast and enveloped the Nirvana demon spirit. Whoosh! Accompanied by a slight tremble in space, the Nirvana demon spirit, who had been below a second ago, suddenly appeared behind the death god beast. Spatial teleportation? Everyone's hearts trembled once more. This rune beast has mastered the spatial power rune technique? Shock! Shock! Everyone's faces were filled with disbelief. However, there wasn't much time for everyone to be astonished. The Nirvana demon spirit, who had been directly teleported behind the death god beast, had already raised the heaven-splitting blade in its hands. Crack! An unending stream of tribulation lightning flowed up and down the giant sword. Purple pillars of lightning were like berserk lightning pythons. Green arcs of lightning were like beautiful spiritual vines. Storms howled. Thunder collapsed the sky. The Nirvana demon spirit's arms were filled with the power of lightning as it furiously slashed down with its peerless sword. It tore through space and landed solidly on the back of the death god beast that Yushinin had transformed into. Today, I'm going to skin you, clang! Tens of thousands of bolts of lightning exploded in the air like a 3-dimensional net. The heavy explosion almost pierced through the eardrums of everyone watching. The powerful and condensed sword ray was like a chaotic whirlpool. When the sword fell, the bone armor on the back of the death god beast was completely shattered. Even its spine caved in. Bang! The sword wave swept through the air like a blade of divine punishment. A huge wound that was hundreds of meters long immediately opened up on the back of the death god beast. Roar! The grim reaper beast let out an ear-piercing roar, and an incomparably huge force poured down. Under countless gazes filled with shock, the 1,000-meter-tall behemoth was like a meteorite that had smashed into the ground, fiercely smashing into the ground of the Grand Canyon competition zone. Suddenly, rocks collapsed and the ground caved in. A tsunami-like shockwave directly flattened the entire Great Canyon competition area. Chapter 1655. Bang! An incomparably heavy and violent collision shook the earth. The already battered ground of the canyon once again caved in, forming a huge crater. The mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. The aftermath of the tsunami flattened both inside and outside the canyon. The ferocious hurricane directly pounced on the surrounding audience seat. Billions of stones flew everywhere. Everyone's expressions changed when they saw this. This guy, the desolate divine races Sin Yuan, the 9 nether divine races Looting Yu, the devouring divine races Mo Nanquan, and many other divine race geniuses all furrowed their brows. Peak quasi-emperor realm. He had actually sent the emperor level Yu Sheniying crashing to the ground once again. So strong! Yan Hanyu exclaimed sincerely. Everyone's understanding of Chu Hen was constantly being refreshed. From defeating Zhong Qishi, to becoming a super dark horse that killed the Thunder Kuan, to becoming a tyrant that intercepted Dragon Annihilation. But no one could have imagined that Chu Hen actually had the power to contend against Hidden Universe God. Clang! Thunder roared from the 9 heavens. The Nirvana demon spirit, whose entire body flickered with purple light, wielded an enormous sword like a god of war. It looked down at the death god beast that had fallen into the crater. Then, its enormous palm reached down, and an incomparably majestic Reiki energy gushed out. Crack! Rumble! In a split second, numerous black tree vines that were as sturdy as horned dragons drilled out from the cracks in the ground. Jia! The grim reaper beast that Yu Shinin had transformed into let out an ear-piercing shriek. Before the grim reaper could crawl up from the ground, countless vines and roots that radiated an ancient and sinister aura quickly wrapped around the grim reaper's limbs, body, and neck. The speed at which the tree roots and vines extended was extremely fast. Moreover, their growth rate was extremely shocking. One after another, the branches split into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8. It was as if the law of nature was accelerating. Under the shocked gazes of countless people present, a lush tree crown that expanded infinitely rapidly took shape. Buzz, a vast and evil aura spread out in all directions. The death god beast continued to struggle violently. The enormous tree formed a seal that trapped the other party's body. One after another, sturdy tree vines coiled around each other like the tentacles of an octopus with suction cups. It seemed as if it wanted to swallow the grim reaper that hidden god you had transformed into. Looking at the shocking scene in front of him, everyone outside the arena widened their eyes. Is that the immortal talisman spirit tree? Hidden Sky City's city lord Zhao Xuanxiong, who was sitting next to Shifeng Zi, blurted out in confusion. Shifeng Zi's white brows furrowed as he shook his head in shock. It's somewhat similar, but isn't this aura a little too evil? The gigantic evil tree propped up the sky, its lush branches and leaves like a huge umbrella covering the sky. Woo! At the same time, the rune beast on the other side of the rune beast surged with boundless runic power and dove straight towards the evil tree. A myriad of talisman markings that overflowed with multicolored flowing lights converged in the sky and coiled around the tree. The evil tree was like a ferocious maw as it rapidly devoured the grim reaper's body. The rune beast's entire body shone brilliantly. Its body became illusory and illusory, as if it were a sealed soul that was cast into the evil tree. Its enormous body and the tree rapidly merged together. It was just like the merging of a giant soul. As the rune beast continued to merge into the evil tree, the suppression on the grim reaper grew more intense. The latter felt as if it had sunk into a quagmire, its limbs trapped and devoured. At this moment, the various races below the arena were all stunned. Many people couldn't help but stand up. Is Hidden God Yu going to lose? No, that's impossible. No one is Hidden God Yu's match. The various monstrous geniuses all revealed expressions of extreme nervousness. Yan Hanyu, Chen Jingfeng, Mo Nanquan, and the other sacred race geniuses all had tense expressions as they watched the Grim Reaper's beast being devoured and sealed by the evil tree. The Demon Eye Sacred Clan was even more nervous. Just one last bit. Heavenly Wolf Star Guard Rao Failwan clenched his fists, his expression a little fierce. Just one last bit. The evil tree could seal Hidden God Yu. Crack. Suddenly, just as the rune beast was about to completely merge into the evil tree, A pair of sharp bony claws tore open the evil tree's giant trunk from the inside out. Ugh, everyone's expressions changed. Along with the wantonly exploding wood shavings and ruined shadows, the Grim Reaper's claws tore open the evil tree's trunk with the power to tear apart a heavenly net. Screech, an ear-piercing screech reverberated through the sky. The other party's terrifying white skull once again broke free from the entanglement of thousands of vines. Savage. Absolutely savage. Hidden God, you directly demonstrated to everyone the ruthlessness of the beast Tao. You want to seal me just like that? Too naive. You underestimate me, you Shanine. Screech. A ferocious aura surged into the heavenly river. Following that, the Grim Reaper's body released a molten lava-like stream of heat. Hell Tao, Furnace Purgatory. The 6 paths of reincarnation, Hell Tao. Rumble. The moment the words were spoken, countless people's hearts trembled in fear. The entire Great Canyon competition area suddenly showed a strange distortion. It was like a spatial shift, a domain shift. Whoosh, in an instant, the heavens and earth changed and all things lost their color. The huge canyon immediately turned into a land of dark red lava. The surrounding sky had completely sunk into darkness. The lava rolling on the ground was a shocking sight to behold. This is domain power, a domain space created by the power of Hell Tao. Domain power. Although that was the case, this domain space was a bit too terrifying. Everyone felt as if they had truly sunk into the infernal inferno. Before everyone had the time to be shocked, pillars of lava immediately pierced through the giant evil tree. The scorching and domineering hellfire quickly spread out. The 1,000-meter-tall evil tree was instantly engulfed by the flames. The arrogant Nirvana demon spirit's pupils trembled. He flipped his palm and immediately ordered the rune beast to retreat from the hellfire. The illusory rune beast solidified again and bounced out like a mountain. Hee, trying to escape? It's not that easy. I'll let you see what a real sealing technique is. The Grim Reaper beast let out a sinister laugh. Then, it twisted its bony claws in the air. Red dragon-like chains suddenly rushed out from the lava below it. Seal hellfire. Walala! The chains covered the sky and sealed the sky. Then, they quickly wrapped around the rune beast's limbs and neck. Roar! The rune beast struggled violently, but the scorching hot chains were indestructible. An incomparably powerful sealing force surged into the rune beast's body. The Nirvana demon spirit that Chu Hen had transformed into flapped its wings. It dragged a beautiful electric arc in the air and charged towards the rune beast. At the same time, it waved the giant blade in its hand and slashed at the chains on its body. The Grim Reaper beast sneered coldly. Don't be too naive if you want to save someone from my seal. As soon as he finished speaking, the enormous chains that trapped the talisman beast tightened. After that, a powerful pulling force erupted, and the talisman beast was directly dragged away from where it stood. It was dragged into the magma below by a terrifying force that was difficult to resist. Roar! The rune beast struggled violently and roared. However, the merciless chains were like the evil hands of the 9 hells, forcefully dragging the symbol beast into the depths of the lava. Shock! Everyone's faces were filled with shock. The rune beast was unable to break free. It was as if it was really being dragged into hell, causing everyone to feel despair. Yu Shanine's power. It was far beyond everyone's imagination. Hell Realm. The first time it appeared, it shocked countless souls. It's your turn. The Grim Reaper beast's sinister face revealed a strange smile. Hell Realm, Gravity Purgatory. In an instant, a strange distortion appeared in the dark space. The crimson infernal inferno a second ago turned into a dim yellow world in the blink of an eye. The Grand Canyon area, which was covered in magma, immediately turned into a barren mountain range without any vegetation. Everyone outside the arena instantly felt an invisible gravitational force filling their bodies, dragging them down. The Nirvana demon spirit in the Gravity Purgatory had to endure a gravitational force that was tens of thousands of times stronger than the spectators. The Nirvana demon spirit's body trembled. Under countless shocked gazes, it was forcefully dragged to the ground like a mountain. Chapter 1656. Hell Realm. Molten Lava Purgatory. Yushinin used an unimaginably domineering power to drag the ferocious talisman beast into the bottom of the lava. The instant the gravity hell changed, causing Chu Hen to lose his connection with the talisman beast, it also dragged Chu Hen's Nirvana demon spirit to the ground. Thump! The mountain-like Nirvana demon spirit landed on the ground. The dim yellow barren mountain range seemed to contain an invisible gravitational force that bound it to the ground. The expressions of the spectators changed again and again. They were shocked and shocked. Dual domain space? No, it's multiple. What? Before everyone could recover from their shock, the temperature in the dim yellow land suddenly plummeted. A bone-piercing chill invaded the depths of everyone's souls without any warning. Hell Realm, Ice Purgatory. Yushinin's imposing aura seemed to originate from the ruler of the netherworld. Winter was approaching. Wind and snow gathered. In an instant, the dim yellow barren land in front of them transformed into a world of ice and snow. In the vast canyon competition area, numerous icebergs stood erect and snowy rivers intersected. Snow flew through the sky, turning the world white. An extremely cold power quickly surged towards the Nirvana demon spirit. Under the shocked gazes of the spectators, a thick layer of ice quickly climbed up the Nirvana demon spirit's body. Crack! The ice crystals condensed extremely quickly. Moreover, the freezing power was extremely strong. The purple flames burning around the Nirvana demon spirit were extinguished at a visible rate. The Nirvana demon spirit, which had already been suppressed by gravity, was once again suppressed by a layer of domain. In just a few blinks of an eye, the area below the Nirvana demon spirit's chest was completely sealed. Even the power of the bloodline boundary has been frozen? Yan Hanyu was extremely shocked. This guy. Chen Jingfeng clenched his fists. The Chaos Holy Clan Xin Yuan narrowed his eyes and muttered to himself, "What a terrifying guy." On the Divine Eye Holy Clan side, Bai Qinyu frowned slightly. A strange light faintly appeared in her beautiful peach blossom eyes. A thick layer of ice froze the Nirvana demon spirit's body. Even the arm that held the formless Emperor blade was eroded by the cold ice, making it difficult for it to move. Purgatory Dao. It was an extremely powerful domain space. Under Yushinin's control, he could make 3 transformations at will. Everyone from the demonic Eye Saint clan stood up at the same time, their eyes filled with fear. Brother Chu Hen? Yi Yao, Qiao Shaowan, Long Qingyang, and the others were also worried. On Mount Kunliu, the faces of the people from the martial sect were extremely solemn. Very quickly, the area below the Nirvana demon spirit's head was covered by a thick layer of ice. From afar, it looked like a huge and dazzling ice sculpture. Yushinin's arrogant and slightly deranged laughter came from the death god beast's throat. "Please forgive me for making you wait for so long. I'll end the battle now." End the battle? Hearing these words, everyone's heartstrings couldn't help but tremble. The moment Yushinin finished speaking, the death god beast opened its mouth. Buzz, an extremely violent black cyclone rapidly gathered in its mouth. An extremely dense ball of energy quickly took shape, instantly condensing into a black jade sphere. The space around it fluctuated restlessly. An endless stream of energy flowed into the jade sphere. Under countless pairs of trembling gazes, the jade sphere rapidly expanded in size. The energy surging inside it seemed to contain underground magma that had accumulated for millions of years, or the undercurrents of the deep sea that were billions of meters deep. A destructive and threatening aura swept out in all directions. Everyone's gazes moved back and forth between the two. It's really over this time. Yushinin is still Yushinin, and the Reincarnation Saint Clan is still the Reincarnation Saint Clan. The Nirvana demon spirit, who was being suppressed by the Purgatory realm's multiple domains, was now no different from a target. The death god beast let out a long howl and slowly raised its head, displaying its godly might. Beast Tao, Dead Soul Jade. Whoosh! The sound of an extremely rapid air current surged out. The black ball of energy, which contained the endless power of the reincarnation beast, shot out in a straight line. The frozen ground cracked open layer by layer. A huge ravine quickly extended and split open. A thick aura of death rushed towards the Nirvana demon spirit, and the extremely fierce hurricane pressure caused the space around it to distort to the extreme. He's dead. They could already foresee Chu Hen's ending. Not to mention Chu Hen, who was at the peak of the quasi-emperor realm. Even martial emperors of the same level would not be able to withstand Yu Shinin's attack. However, it was also at this critical moment. Bang! A crisp explosion suddenly sounded from the left arm of the Nirvana demon spirit. Roar! A resounding dragon roar pierced through the heavens. A violent purple flame and a black aura actually rose from the Nirvana demon spirit's left arm. Everyone's faces suddenly paled. From afar, one could see that there was an extremely strange dragon-shaped pattern on the Nirvana demon spirit's left arm. The lifelike shadow of a dragon circled around the left arm. It looked like an ancient totem tattoo that was engraved on it. Roar! In an instant, another shocking dragon roar reverberated throughout the entire Grand Canyon competition area. This dragon roar! It displayed a supreme and domineering might. The terrifying aura made everyone's soul tremble. A monstrous black pillar of light blossomed around the Nirvana demon spirit, piercing through the clouds. As the wind and rain arrived, a powerful creature emitting a gloomy aura suddenly appeared in everyone's field of vision. Hua! A majestic ferocious aura and a ferocious head spat out a scorching hot dragon breath. Dragon! It was a genuine true dragon. It was not an illusory form, nor was it an illusory afterimage. Its sturdy and sharp-clawed torso was densely packed with black scales. From the dragon's claws to its spine, it was strong and powerful. From the dragon's head to its giant tail, it shone with sharpness. His perfect body was extraordinary, noble, and domineering. His giant, vertical eyes revealed a peerless majesty that looked down on the common people. That is? At this moment, even the great emperors on the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform revealed an unconcealable shock. Especially the Dragon Blood Emperor, he could not help but stand up from his seat. His dignified gaze was filled with bewilderment that had never been seen before. Roar! The black dragon soared into the sky, its aura piercing through the heavens. Then, under countless shocked gazes, the black dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws to meet the black energy ball that was rushing towards it. Bang! The earth-shattering explosion was comparable to the collapse of the apocalypse. Once the two collided, the mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. The vast and violent black shockwave was like a primordial tsunami that spread in all directions, rippling out endlessly. The ground of the ice purgatory collapsed inch by inch. The glaciers and mountain pillars were all crushed and overturned. The universe lost its color. The black storm swept towards the spectator seats outside the Grand Canyon competition zone. Energy Dispelling Array activate. Spirit House Peak Lord Shangguan Wutsa hurriedly shouted. Buzz! In an instant, one after another, almost transparent light golden curtains rose from the edges of the spectator stands. Bang, bang, bang! The vast and violent shockwave heavily impacted the light screen barrier formed by the energy dispelling array. The barrier shook violently, wantonly dented and distorted. Everyone outside the arena felt their hearts stop beating. Many people subconsciously took a step back. They were afraid that the energy dispelling array would not be able to withstand the impact of the shockwave and leak outside. The violent and terrifying airflow was like a hurricane howling inside the Great Canyon competition area. The nirvanic demon spirit that Chu Hen had fused with and the death god beast formed by hidden universe god were like the war god shaman spirit that controlled this land of destruction. Roar! It was also at this moment that an enormous ferocious being with a savage aura suddenly tore through the layer upon layer of terrifying storms, and then it pressed forward like an enormous boat and charged towards the grim reaper beast with the might of a myriad of storms. What? Everyone below the arena was shocked. It actually broke through hidden universe gods, beast Tao, dead soul jade? To everyone's surprise, the black dragon's sharp, hook-like claws directly struck the death god beast. Bang! As the bone armor in front of it shattered, the terrifying claws mercilessly stabbed into the death god beast's body. Hiss! Rip! The violent and sharp energy was like a divine beam that tore through the clouds. The death god beast's enormous body was rapidly torn apart. Countless sharp lights interweaved and flickered. The death god beast was like a giant beast whose stomach had been cut open. Then, hidden universe god's true body was directly exposed to the black dragon's claws. Hidden universe god beast's eyes trembled. Panic and fear finally appeared on his face. Boom! The cold and sharp dragon claws solidly struck hidden universe god beast's body, and the latter was ruthlessly squeezed into the ground. Bang bang bang, layer after layer of the earth continuously collapsed, accompanied by violent airflow that filled the sky and crushed the icy domain in all directions. In an instant, the incomparably cold, icy hell actually collapsed and completely collapsed. It was as if space had collapsed. The black dragon roared at the sky, its power suppressing the 9 heavens. Chapter 1657. Rumble, the world changed and the earth cracked. The black dragon, which exuded a frightening aura, tore through the entire reincarnation hell. The dreamy and spectacular scene shocked everyone's visual nerve. The frost hell quickly disintegrated. Then, the dim gravity hell collapsed rapidly too. Finally, the infernal inferno, that was filled with magma, also lost its scorching heat waves, and the magma pillars on the ground quickly dried up. The triple domain realm quickly disappeared. The Grand Canyon competition area returned to its original environment. Bang! The sound of a heavy object hitting the ground reverberated. The talisman beast that had been sealed by the hellfire fell to the ground again, kicking up a cloud of dust. The talisman beast's aura was weak. There were a lot of burn wounds on its body. However, it was not life-threatening. The black dragon roared and danced in the sky. Then, its huge body quickly became illusory, and it turned into a ball of light that drilled back into the Terminator demon spirit's left arm. A dazzling light shone on the Terminator demon spirit's arm. Under the dazed gaze of the audience, the ball of light then turned into a dragon shadow that was engraved on the Terminator demon spirit's arm, and then disappeared. Then, the talisman beast turned into a circle of light and disappeared, turning into countless bright light beams that returned to Chu Hen's Naiwan palace. At this moment, not only were the sacred clans shocked, but even the atmosphere on the Emperor's throne platform became a little strange. Is it? At this moment, the Antiquity Emperor looked to the side and said to the Dragonblood Emperor, who had stood up. Other than the Reincarnation Emperor, the other emperors also looked at the Dragonblood Emperor meaningfully. The latter did not answer. A pair of metallic pupils faintly became sharp. It can't be, right? The Burning Heaven Emperor continued. If it's it, you should be the only one who can summon it. Besides, hasn't it already been it? That man? Hearing these words, the Dragonblood Emperor's emotions fluctuated even more. He paused, slowly loosened his clenched fists, and coldly glanced at the Burning Sky Emperor. I don't need you to remind me, he. The Burning Heaven Emperor smiled meaningfully. I only noticed that something was wrong with you, so I kindly reminded you. You don't have to treat me this way, do you? Cat cries Housie. The Dragonblood Emperor replied in disdain and sat back down. Meanwhile, the Lightning Emperor, who was sitting on the seat of the Demonic Eye Emperor, was clearly out of tune with the atmosphere. Although he didn't know what they were talking about, he didn't have the right to ask. Buzz. The Grand Canyon competition zone had been turned upside down. Thick and chaotic waves of air surged out recklessly. The sinkhole created by the Black Dragon's giant claw was so wide that it took up more than half of the canyon. Countless deep cracks extended all the way to the edge of the arena. If it weren't for the activation of the energy dissipation array's defense mechanism, the spectator stands would have been affected. In the huge pit in the shape of a dragon claw, a young man in ragged clothes and covered in blood was lying in the rubble. That was Yu Shanine. Hiss! Everyone gasped as they stared at the figure in the crater from afar. Shock. It was a shock that made people tremble. Chen Jingfeng, Yen Hanyu, Mo Nanquan, Sun Yuan, and the other geniuses of the strongest sacred clan all widened their eyes. Yu Shanine, who was viewed as an invincible existence, had fallen to such a state. However, even though Yu Shanine was covered in blood, he still stood there and didn't collapse. Ha 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 ha, he laughed. Yu Shanine actually laughed. His slightly sinister laughter sent chills down everyone's spines. He still looked at the Nirvana demon spirit in front of him with an arrogant attitude. You actually forced me to this extent. I, Yu Shanine, am willing to worship you as the strongest of the 10 sacred clans. Yu Shanine's eyes turned scarlet, and his voice became even more deafening, striking everyone's eardrums. But you met me, Heavenly Tao, Battle Soul Return. The Heavenly Tao of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation. The words that entered everyone's ears were like a bolt from the blue that struck the depths of everyone's souls. Buzz, an invisible, majestic aura crushed the entire arena. A vast pressure swept out from Yu Shanine's surroundings. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge shockwave suddenly exploded from behind Chu Hen. Chu Hen, who'd transformed into a Nirvana demon spirit, was shocked. He immediately turned around, but before he could react, a dark shadow slammed into the center of the Nirvana demon spirit's chest. Boom, bang, a heavy sound exploded in the sky. The sudden, terrifying force was like a meteorite. A circle of chaotic and vast purple light mixed with endless dazzling light exploded from within. In that instant, the Nirvana demon spirit, that was like a god of war, actually split into pieces and exploded from within. A what? The rapid changes that happened one after another caused the hearts of the people in the audience to suffer great shock. The demonic I Clans group in particular found it a little hard to bear. Big Brother Chu Hen. Yi Yao's face was deathly pale. Long Qingyang, Qiao Shaowan, Li Wushang, and Bai Qianyu from the Divine I Clan couldn't help but clench their fists, their eyes filled with fear. Heavenly Law? It's the Heavenly Law? Yu Shanine, who's only gone through 8 samsara tribulations, can control the power of the Heavenly Law. Is he a monster? At this moment, everyone was shocked and trembling. Even the great emperors on the 10 Directions Emperor's throne stage found it hard to believe. To be able to comprehend the power of the Heavenly Law at such a young age, what a monstrous genius. As expected of a genius whose bloodline boundary is comparable to the Reincarnation Emperor's. How enviable! The Star Emperor murmured. The Sky-Scorching Emperor, the Devouring Emperor, and the others also shook their heads. They were truly envious. No sacred clan could find a genius with such a terrifying bloodline like Yu Shanine. One had to know. Even in the Reincarnation Sacred Clan, the only one who could control the power of the Heavenly Law was the Reincarnation Emperor. Even the other great emperors couldn't pry into the power of the Heavenly Law. Terrifying. Truly terrifying. In time, this Yu Shanine would become another Reincarnation Emperor. The Nirvana demon spirit instantly shattered. The dazzling flowing light battle armor cracked inch by inch. Amidst the crystal fragments that filled the sky, Chu Hen's original body was once again exposed to everyone's vision. But in the next second, the figure of light emitting a gloomy aura pierced through the thousands of pieces of armor and heavily smashed into Chu Hen's body. Caught off guard, the explosive attack caused Chu Hen's chest to slightly cave in. His handsome face turned red and a mouthful of blood immediately spurted out from his mouth. Not good. Everyone was shocked. Chu Hen, who had been hit by the huge force, couldn't help but move backward at an extremely fast speed. Everyone looked over and saw that the thing that had slammed into Chu Hen was an illusory human figure. It had blurry facial features, and the aura it emitted was extremely powerful. "It's the war soul of an emperor expert?" Yen Hanyu of the Sky-Scorching Saint clan exclaimed. "The war soul of an emperor expert? What do you mean?" someone asked in confusion. "It's a power that only the power of the heavenly law can control. After some emperors die, the Samsara sage physique can use a strand of their soul to preserve most of their power." "What? It's that abnormal?" "Yes. From a certain perspective, it can preserve that strand of the war soul forever. As the saying goes, those who wield the heavenly law can break free from the 6 paths and control reincarnation. Those who could pry into the heavenly law could break free from the 6 paths and control reincarnation. The Samsara sage physique's power far surpassed everyone's understanding. As expected of the strongest sage physique, the Samsara sage clan is truly fated to have it. Just as everyone was shocked by Yu Shinin's power, Yu Shinin, who was behind Chu Hen, quietly raised his left arm. Buzz! A powerful wave of power gathered in his palm, and a sharp black beam of light quickly formed. "Hee, have a safe journey. I won't be sending you off. Human Tao, flashing blade." Swish! An aurora swept across the sky, and a black beam of light shot towards Chu Hen's back with a murderous aura. The war soul of an emperor expert unleashed a huge force that continuously pushed Chu Hen towards Yu Shinin. Behind him, the beam of light attacked mercilessly. At this moment, Chu Hen seemed to have fallen into a desperate situation. The footsteps of the Grim Reaper. It was approaching at an extremely fast speed. Chapter 1658. Human Tao, flashing blade. The black beam of light that tore through the sky created a rapid ripple in the air. The battle soul of an Emperor Realm expert erupted with a huge force that pushed Chu Hen towards Yu Shinin. Everyone below the arena could already see the Grim Reaper's scythe slashing towards Chu Hen's throat in an unstoppable manner. Yi Yao, Qiao Shaowan, Long Qingyang and the others no longer dared to look at what was about to happen. Chu Hen, who was moving at high speed, glanced at the incoming black beam of light from the corner of his eye. His demonic pupils suddenly shrank to the size of a needle. Hiss! In the next moment, a violent and heavy explosion shook the surroundings, and a circle of vast and vigorous black aftermath suddenly swept across the Grand Canyon competition area. Dust rose in all directions and the desolate ground caved in once again. Everyone's hearts clenched. Everyone's gazes were fixed on one spot. Was it over? Everyone had the same question in their hearts. However, Yu Shinin's eyes turned cold from within the dragon claw-shaped pit. Hee, I really can't stop surprises. Whoosh! The extremely powerful aura was like a raging tsunami. Suddenly, everyone's hearts trembled again. What's that? In the world, it was as if an ancient, melodious groan was being chanted. In the air, Chu Hen stood in the air, and behind him, a black-colored figure that was like a demon or god maintained the same posture as him, overlooking the heavens. Whoosh! Everyone's hearts were filled with a shock that they had never felt before. Unconcealable shock filled everyone's faces. What's that? The second type of bloodline boundary? Who exactly is he? The black figure's silhouette was exactly the same as Chu Hen's original body. It attached itself to Chu Hen's back and emitted a terrifying and domineering aura. The super geniuses of the various sacred clans were all shocked. On the Emperor's throne platform, the faces of the great emperors changed slightly. Although they weren't as shocked as the others, their expressions were somewhat thought-provoking. It seems that not only has he inherited the limit of his mother's bloodline, but he has also obtained his father's physique. The Great Star Emperor said meaningfully. It's really exciting. I thought I would never see such a bloodline again. The Burning Heaven Monarch's words also had a hidden meaning. Excited? More accurately, it was palpitating. At this moment, even the Reincarnation Emperor's eyes flashed with a strange light. The Antiquity Heavenly Emperor's eyes turned cold as he spat out a few words. The Chaos Clan. Hua. His voice was not loud, but when it reached the ears of everyone present, it inexplicably touched them. The people from the Demon Eye Saint clan and the Holy Eye Saint clan, in particular, had complicated expressions on their faces. The Chaos Clan. This was a special existence. It was also an existence that had once dominated the 10 strongest sacred clans. 10,000 years ago, the Chaos Clan was known as the Divine Clan's glorious era. There was once a man who controlled the 10 great sacred clans and ruled over the territories of the human race. He ruled alone through the ages and shocked the world. Even the sacred clan assembly was held just to find an existence that could replace that man. Don't you think he's alone? At this moment, a surprised voice came from the crowd below the stage. Who? Chu. Ran. Tian. Hua. The commotion continued to grow. All sorts of noises caused chaos both inside and outside the Great Valley competition zone. There was no lack of elders who had seen Chu Rantian in the past amongst the spectators from all 8 races. Perhaps not many of the people present had seen Chu Rantian before. However, many of them had heard of his name. Chu Rantian. At the time, his name was well known. Wait, his surname is also Chu. He has both the Demon Eye Saint physique and the Chaos bloodline. There's no mistake, there's no mistake. He must be the child of Chu Rantian and Li Jixia. In an instant, the entire Great Valley competition zone was turned upside down. Everyone looked at Chu Hen with a complicated expression in their eyes. Without a doubt, he was lucky to have 2 great bloodlines. Both the Demon Eye Saint physique and the Chaos body carried extremely special inheritances. But at the same time, it was unfortunate for Chu Hen. Due to the changes that had happened to the Demon Eye Saint clan and the Chaos race, he had to bear the most difficult burden and mission. Buzz. The intense spatial vibration tugged at everyone's heartstrings. In the Great Valley competition zone, the battle between Chu Hen and Hidden Yushun had yet to end. The appearance of the heavenly Tao. It stunned the world. And the appearance of the Chaos world was also earth-shattering. Ha 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 ha. Hidden Yushun laughed heartily. Not only did he not feel the slightest fear, but his eyes surged with a strong desire to fight. The limit of the chaotic bloodline is really better than hearing about it. Today, let's see whether your desolate divine body from 10,000 years ago is stronger or my heavenly samsara Tao is stronger, wasted divine physique. When these 4 words entered one's ears, one would feel an indescribable sorrow and sorrow. In the past, the Chaos body had dominated the world and controlled the great Tao. Later on, it was even inferior to ordinary sacred race members. Only Chu Rantian from back then had been stunning for a while, but it was only a flash in the pan. Everyone felt the arrogance and provocation in Hidden Yushun's words. Chu Hen's eyes were as cold as frost. Please forgive me. The reincarnation sacred race will stop here. Rumble. The instant he finished speaking, the black shadow behind Chu Hen suddenly exploded with a huge power that could support the heavens. Under countless shocked gazes, the black shadow immediately transformed into a giant god-fiend that was thousands of meters tall. Storms gathered in the world. Then, Chu Hen joined his palms together. The giant god-fiend behind him also joined its palms together. Accompanied by waves of extremely powerful energy ripples, with Chu Hen as the center, strange ancient runes suddenly appeared in all directions in the world. These runes were extremely unique. Each one seemed to be a crack in space. They traced through the void and cut through the ground. In the blink of an eye, the tens of thousands of runes were like black lightning that stopped in the world. They gave off an uneasy aura. This is. The expressions of the great emperors on the 10 emperors' throne platforms changed slightly. At the same time, Hidden Yu Shin shouted coldly, "Heavenly Tao, awaken!" As soon as he finished speaking, the Emperor Stage Fighting Soul flashed behind Yu Shenying and turned into a resplendent light that fused into his body. "It's a War Soul fusion!" someone exclaimed. "If that's the case, Yu Shening's condition will return to full health." Rumble, Hidden Yu Shin, who had fused with the War Soul of an Emperor expert, once again erupted with the majestic aura of his peak state. "Beast Tao, Dead Beast Void!" Bang! In an instant, an extremely powerful and surging wave of air rippled out. Hidden Yu Shin's body emitted a dark curtain of light. Sharp forelimbs, sturdy hind legs, and a dozen or so giant tails that looked like chains quickly extended out of the curtain of light. Hidden Yu Shin's body once again grew to a size of 10,000 meters. Giant skeletons also condensed around his body. Hidden Yu Shin's bone armor extended out. The terrifying death god beast once again appeared in everyone's field of vision in its peak state. Reincarnation. These two words seemed to perfectly describe the current situation. Chu Hen had forced Hidden Yu Shin to this state with great difficulty. Then, with the power of the heavenly Tao of reincarnation, everything that he had done previously seemed to have become useless. Ha! Hidden Yu Shin let out a shrill cry. He leapt into the air and unleashed an extremely powerful attack towards Chu Hen in the sky. "I am the heavenly Tao. Who can stop me?" Fierce hurricanes howled in all directions. A boundless pressure fell towards Chu Hen. However, at the same time, Chu Hen's eyes flickered with an extraordinary cold light. He raised his palms and an unparalleled aura that covered the sky leaked out. 3,000 great Taos, I rule the heavens. Scripture of the Great Tao. As he spoke, an unprecedentedly violent and terrifying ripple of energy began to sweep out in all directions. Instantly, the sky above the great valley collapsed and space began to tear apart inch by inch. Chapter 1659. I am the heavenly way. Who can stop me? A sharp howl shook the heavens as the hidden universe god's dead beast illusion erupted once again. It charged towards Chu Hen in the sky with a ferocious might that could tear the sky apart. At the same time, the countless ancient and strange Tao markings that floated in the heavens and the earth emanated an extremely strong rhythm of space. 3,000 great ways, only I rule the heavens. The Great Way Scripture. He raised his eyebrows, and the powerful voice seemed to come from the distant sea and entered the ears of everyone present. That is. The great emperors on the 10 emperors' throne platforms narrowed their eyes. In an instant, an unprecedentedly violent and terrifying energy fluctuation suddenly filled the sky above the Grand Canyon competition area. Boom! A series of heavy explosions shook the heavens. Then, under the shocked gazes of countless people, the area above the Grand Canyon competition area suddenly collapsed, and the space was rapidly torn apart. Doomsday collapse. Divine punishment rips the heavens. Every single Tao marking that floated in the heavens and the earth was like a mysterious talisman inscribed in the air. They were like motionless black bolts of lightning, and it was even to the extent that every single inch and section of them contained an extremely overbearing energy of destruction. Every Tao pattern seemed to have been carved in space by the hands of an ancient god. From afar it looked like there were countless ancient and strange characters floating in the sky. At this moment, thousands of Tao patterns exploded at the same time. Bang! As the void distorted and collapsed, the ground of the entire Great Canyon competition area instantly sank. Billions of rocks were crushed into powder. From the center to the edge, the river of the Great Canyon and the high ground were all disintegrated. The flowers and trees were also crushed into dust. In the sky, long and narrow spatial cracks were forcefully torn open. A power storm that could destroy everything filled the sky and earth. The terrifying pressure and tearing force produced by the spatial collapse attacked the hidden universe god from all directions. The hidden universe god's huge body that was more than 3,000 meters tall seemed to be crushed by a terrifying mountain. Crack! Bang! In an instant, the skeletal armor covering the Grim Reaper beast's body was shattered in an instant. What a terrifying power! The geniuses outside the Great Canyon competition area widened their eyes. Their faces were filled with shock. In the next second, the 1,000-meter-tall black godfiend's shadow behind Chu Hen suddenly clenched its fist in the air. Swish, streaks of mysterious and dark black Tao patterns transformed into dreamy swirls of light and gathered in the center of its palm. A rapidly spinning flywheel was formed in front of his palm. There were 4 curved hooks on the edge of the flywheel. As it rotated at an extreme speed, it burst forth with a swift and fierce wind-splitting momentum. Great Tao slashed the star grass, together with Chu Hen's stern shout. The figure conjured by the chaotic body raised its arm and directly tossed the disc at the beast of death. Whoosh! The black spiral storm tore through the sky. Wherever the 4-cornered flywheel went, a straight spatial crack would appear behind it. Tens of thousands of storms gathered together. The black halo directly hit the death god beast's enormous body. Boom! Hurricanes roared and danced chaotically in the sky. The shocking scene struck the visual nerves of everyone present. The 1,000-meter-long black vortex light blade rotated rapidly and slashed at the Grim Reaper beast's body. The latter's sturdy body was mercilessly sliced apart once again. At this moment, the death god beast's defense was actually so fragile under the attack of the power of laws. Hiss! The moment the death god beast's body exploded, Yu Shanin's original body was exposed beneath the black vortex of light without any cover. Yu Shanin's pupils constricted to the size of needle-tip. Fear and shock, which had never been seen before, covered his entire face. Boom! The tremendous force of impact was like an apocalyptic shuttle flying over from beyond the heavens. The black vortex was like a terrifying, sharp millstone as it struck Yu Shanin's body solidly. The unstoppable force directly smashed Yu Shanin out of the sky and heavily embedded him into the ground. Bang! Rumble! A terrifying storm, like the explosion of a star, once again swept across the ground. The Great Canyon, which was already riddled with holes and had collapsed, once again welcomed an unprecedented wave. The destructive shock waves swept across the ground. The ground, which had already sunk hundreds of meters deep, almost flipped over. Clang! A vast black wave of energy swept out in all directions, and a violent pillar of energy shook the heavens and the earth. Bang! A series of heavy explosions rang out, and the light barrier created by the energy-dispelling array in the spectator stands completely shattered. It was like shattered glass crystals. The expressions of the various sacred race members in the spectator stands changed drastically. Before they could react, the powerful shock waves of the hurricane surged into the spectator stands. Everyone hurriedly circulated their true yuan to defend themselves. Even so, there were still many people whose blood and energy surged, and their faces paled. There were even some with weaker cultivations who directly coughed up a mouthful of blood. Heavens! Everyone was terrified. This was the first time in the history of the Sacred Race Conference that the spectators outside were injured. Everyone could only feel their hearts trembling. Just how powerful was this blow from Chu Hen? It's over? On the Emperor's throne platform, several great emperors had already stood up involuntarily, even though they were used to countless grand scenes. At this moment, they were also unable to maintain the calm that they should have. Chen Jingfeng, Yan Hanyu, Sen Yuan, Lu Tingyu, and many other geniuses of the strongest sacred race frowned deeply. Everyone present didn't even dare to breathe too loudly. Buzz, along with the intense trembling of the energy, the 1,000-meter-long black godfiend's shadow behind Chu Hen gradually became illusory, and then concealed itself and disappeared. The void that was filled with spatial cracks was also healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Looking from afar, Chu Hen's face was also slightly pale, but the domineering aura between his brows was increasingly frightening. In the great canyon below, it had already been turned upside down. There was a huge ravine on both sides of the competition area, as if it had been split open by a heaven-splitting divine blade. It was a shocking sight, and in the middle of the ravine, a bloodied figure with twisted limbs lay powerlessly in a pile of rocks. Yushinin. Looking at that person, everyone's pupils constricted. Yushinin's aura was extremely weak, and a wound that had almost pierced through his chest was bleeding profusely. His bones and internal organs were unknowingly damaged. His eyes were lifeless, and his face was filled with disbelief and unwillingness. Reincarnation Heavenly Tao. Primal Chaos Great Tao. The strongest of the 10 strongest sacred physiques. The divine physique that had been wasted 10,000 years ago. This battle. It was finally over. Chu Hen stood in the sky, looking down at Yushinin with a domineering attitude. The reincarnation sacred race will stop here. Remember my name, Chu Hen. Chapter 1660. Your reincarnation saint clan will stop here. Remember my name, Chu Hen. His imposing manner and his attitude of dominating the entire arena. In an instant, the entire Grand Canyon seemed to tremble. At the same time, the hearts of countless people in the audience also trembled in fear. After 10,000 years of trials and hardships, the Demon Eye Saint clan had returned to the finals. The Reincarnation Saint clan had won 9 consecutive victories and won the championship. With the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation, Yushinin had defeated 3 opponents by himself and stood at the peak of the valley with his domineering dominance. Burning Sky, Star, and Devouring had all suffered setbacks. The various saint clans had personally witnessed the reincarnation saint clan's strength. Who would have thought that at the final moment when Yushinin was about to reach the top, the Demon Eye Saint clan would stand out? Chu Hen. Remember my name. Without a doubt, the entire world would remember this name after today. Yan Hanyu and Chen Jingfeng exchanged glances and saw the shock in each other's eyes. They'd both guessed wrong. Before the competition, the two had made a bet. Chen Jingfeng would defeat Yushinin and win. On the other hand, Yan Hanyu favored Mo Nanquan and Sin Yuan. However, after Mo Nanquan's defeat in one move, almost everyone leaned towards Yushinin. The 6 paths of reincarnation shocked the world. Even an 8-star Demon Eye Saint clan couldn't compete with it. However, the appearance of the chaotic body was earth-shattering. On the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform, the great emperors were no longer as composed as before. Similar, too similar. Burning Heaven Monarch murmured. The Star Emperor, Devouring Emperor, Desolation Emperor, Chaos Emperor, and the others were slightly moved. Like who? Chu Rantian? However, from their unusual expressions, it didn't seem to be the case. Back then, Chu Rantian was like him too. It was an unforgettable feeling even after countless years. It's really a nostalgic aura, the great Star Emperor said meaningfully. The others had complicated expressions as well. Looks like we'll have to wait for the next time. Burning Sky Emperor snapped out of his daze, a hint of slyness appearing on his face. The Dragon Blood Emperor, Chaos Emperor, and the others subconsciously glanced at the Reincarnation Emperor, who sat in the middle. Following Yushinin's defeat, the Reincarnation Saint clan's goal of becoming the 10th champion was shattered. This also meant that the Reincarnation Emperor would have to wait for the next Sacred Race Conference to wield the Heavenly Emperor token. Obviously, the other great emperors were happy to see that. In particular, the eyes of the Burning Sky Emperor and the Great Star Emperor were filled with uncontrollable laughter. In fact, they wanted to see a disappointed and gloomy expression on the Samsara Emperor's face. However, the Samsara Emperor's expression did not change at all. Even the rhythm of his aura was stable and did not change at all. Calm as still water. Yushinin's failure did not affect the Samsara Emperor in the slightest. What a ruthless person! Burning Heaven Emperor muttered to himself while shaking his head. Aren't you disappointed? I'm only one step away. In the end, he could not help but ask. The Reincarnation Emperor looked up, his voice as calm as an ancient well. Victory and defeat are common for soldiers. How can I be disappointed? The great emperors squinted their eyes. This was very much like the Reincarnation Emperor. No one could see through it. Grand Canyon Competition Zone. The atmosphere was extremely tense. The surroundings were deathly silent. Countless people were in a daze. There were many twists and turns. The battle between Yu Shinin and Chu Hen was a feast for the eyes. All kinds of trump cards were used, so much so that the audience did not even have time to recover from their shock. Is this the end? It should be. This battle was too shocking. As expected of Chu Chintian's son. He does not lose to his father at all. Many clamorous exclamations rose from outside the arena. Watching this scene from afar, everyone sighed inwardly. If the chaotic clan was still around, Chu Chintian and Chu Hen might be able to recreate the glory of the chaotic divine body. Moreover, Chu Hen's body was reinforced by the bloodline limit of the demonic sacred body. How could such a person be mediocre in the world? Speaking of the past, everyone's gaze subconsciously swept towards where the divine sacred clan was. Even though everyone had a tacit understanding of what had happened back then, everyone knew about the feud between the divine sacred clan and the demonic sacred clan. The destruction of the chaotic clan and the demonic sacred clan was also inextricably linked to the divine sacred clan. Now Chu Hen, who possessed both the chaotic bloodline and the demonic sacred clan, dominated the entire arena in an earth-shattering manner. Who knew what the divine sacred clan was thinking? In the Grand Canyon, the sky and earth were turned upside down. The Grand Canyon Competition Zone, which had originally been almost at the same level as the spectator stands, had sunk by more than 100 meters. Some of the fissures were more than several thousand meters long. The most shocking thing was the natural chasm that Yu Shinin was lying on. It had directly cut across the entire competition zone. The chasm had forcefully split the competition zone in half. Recalling the black storm-light whirlwind, everyone felt a faint chill run down their spines. The power of the Great Path had directly shaken the heavenly path of reincarnation and torn apart the 9 heavens. Yu Shinin's injuries were shocking to the eye. His chest had practically been cut through. One could clearly see his bones and organs inside. Even though his eyes were filled with unwillingness, he could only helplessly watch as the young figure, who seemed to have returned, stood in the air above him like a king. One sentence. The Reincarnation Sacred Clan stops here. It completely tore apart all of Yu Shinin's glory. One sentence. Remember my name. It was a killing blow. Yu Shinin was completely overshadowed. At this moment, everyone below the arena had become Chu Hen's background. The almost invincible Yu Shinin had been defeated. Yu Shinin's vision gradually became blurry, and only the sound of the cold wind could be heard. The winner of this battle is the demonic sacred clan, Chu Hen. Shangguan Wuzi, the Lord of Spirit Essence Peak, paused for a moment before finally announcing the result. It was obvious that Shangguan Wuzi's expression was not very natural. His voice was also a little weak. However, as soon as he finished speaking, cheers that shook the heavens erupted from the audience. Good! Ha 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 ha, well done! Everyone on the demonic sacred clan's side stood up and applauded. Heavenly Wolf Star Guard Rao Failwan even disregarded his status and shouted excitedly. We won, ha 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 ha! Our demonic sacred clan finally won again. Fourth Elder, did you see that? Chu Hen won. Everyone's eyes were filled with great excitement. The Fourth Elder's murky old eyes were faintly glistening with tears. One? Ha ha! Suddenly, at this moment, a disdainful sneer entered everyone's ears. As soon as the words were spoken, an earth-shattering explosion suddenly erupted on the ground of the canyon competition area. Pillars of lava that emitted a boundless, violent, primordial aura soared into the heavenly river, overturning the vast sky. A peerlessly domineering young figure appeared in the arena. Rocks crumbled and cyclones spilled out. Everyone's heartstrings trembled. That person exuded an overbearing, desolate, and tyrannical aura. This person was none other than the desolate sacred clan's Sin Yuan. My apologies, it's a little too early for you to celebrate. Sin Yuan stood in the air and stared at Chu Hen in front of him with a ridiculing attitude. Then, a violent scarlet aura gushed out of his eyes, and a terrifying aura that far surpassed his previous aura swept out in all directions. This aura is… Emperor Realm? Sin Yuan has also entered Emperor Realm. Chapter 1661. This aura is… Emperor Realm? A mountain-like pressure spread out in all directions. Sin Yuan stood proudly in the sky, his body erupting with tsunami-like power. The sudden scene caused the people outside the arena, who had just calmed down with great difficulty, to be shocked once again. This guy? Yen Hanyu of the Burning Heaven Saint clan narrowed his eyes. He really hid something. Chen Jingfeng, who was standing to the side, also had a deep frown on his face. Previously, when the two of them had placed their bets, Yen Hanyu had voted for Sin Yuan. Even though the battle between Sin Yuan and Lu Tingyu of the Nine Nether Saint clan wasn't particularly spectacular, and it wasn't as spectacular as Yu Shinin, Mo Nanquan, and Chu Hen, it wasn't hard to see that Sin Yuan had actually hidden his strength. However, it was unbelievable that Sin Yuan had hidden it so deeply. Emperor Realm. From the beginning of the battle until now, Sun Yuan was like a ferocious tiger among the beasts, constantly paying attention to the situation on the stage. On the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform, the few great emperors looked at Chaos Emperor from the corner of their eyes. They like to hide something in everything. This is very Chaos Saint clan. Burning Heaven Emperor said with a hint of mockery. A complacent smile appeared on the face of the primordial Chaos Heavenly Emperor. Same to you. Sun Yuan's prestige suppressed the entire place. Shangguan Wuzi immediately ordered people to take the half-dead Yu Shinin away from the stage, and handed over the battle area to the two people above the canyon. Another Emperor Realm. Everyone's heart was going up and down today, and they couldn't stay calm for even a moment, even though they were shocked. But it seemed to be reasonable. After all, the limit of the 10 most powerful sacred physiques was unfathomable. I'm afraid Sin Yuan can't beat Yu Shinin, someone said in a low voice. Even though they were both emperors, Yu Shinin's aura was obviously stronger. However, as the saying goes, when the crane and the clam fight, the fisherman benefits. In the battle between Chu Hen and Yu Shinin, he had used up all his energy and trump cards. At this time, Sun Yuan's intention was obvious. Isn't this too shameless? Making a move at this time is simply taking advantage of the situation. Yi Yao, who was outside the arena, gnashed her teeth in hatred. Chu Hen, stop fighting him. Let's call a truce. Qiao Shaowan shouted. Li Wushang, Long Qingyang, and the others remained silent. If they called a truce at this time, it would mean that they would hand over the title of champion to the primordial Holy Clan. In that case, all of his previous achievements would be nullified. Buzz. The domains between the two intersected, causing waves of uneasy rhythm in the void. Chu Hen's face was pale, and his aura was much weaker. With his cultivation at the peak of the Quasi-Emperor realm, he had used his full strength to defeat Yu Shinin, who was a martial emperor. In the eyes of the crowd, this was already the limit. There was no way he would be able to defeat another great emperor. A mocking sneer appeared on Sun Yuan's face. He looked at Chu Hen playfully. You don't have any strength? Chu Hen's mouth corners rose. If I were you, I would continue hiding off the arena, even though this was the first time the two had confronted each other face to face. Everyone knew about the enmity between Chu Hen and the primordial Holy Clan. In the battle in Midland, Chu Hen led the martial sect, Han Yun School, and Spirit Phoenix Valley, and directly uprooted the War God Palace, a stronghold of the Primordial Holy Clan in Midland. Then, the Primordial Holy Clan sent out 3 experts, led by Huawen, to hunt down Chu Hen outside the Saint-Winged Heavenly Flame Bird Clan. In the eyes of the Primordial Holy Clan, Chu Hen was already a thorn in their side. Not to mention, as long as they defeated Chu Hen, they would almost be able to become the champion of the Primordial Holy Clan Conference. Whether it was for business or personal reasons, Sun Yuan would not give up this rare opportunity. Facing Chu Hen's sarcasm, Sun Yuan slightly raised his eyebrows and said with slight surprise, "It seems that you don't want to stop the battle?" "Why should we stop the battle?" Chu Hen replied. "With just you? With just you?" As soon as these words were spoken, the hearts of everyone in the surroundings shook. This sarcasm was really heart-wrenching. "Ha ha ha ha!" Sun Yuan laughed, a bit disdainful. Then, his voice sank and his eyes shone with a cold light. "This is exactly what I want to see. Compared to winning, I want to kill you more, Hua." An ice-cold aura spread out from Sun Yuan's body like a deep-sea current. The sharpness of the blade affected everyone in the room. However, a frivolous sneer appeared on Chu Hen's face. "If you can take one move from me, you win, Screech." Even the heartstrings of everyone present tightened. Chu Hen's deep and gloomy eyes once again erupted with a demonic and bewitching purple light. The moment the air waves and vibrations overlapped, a powerful purple hurricane rose in the sky. Streaks of extremely violent purple flowing shadows were like intertwining cyclones in the sky. The earth suddenly darkened. The sky was immediately covered by dark clouds. Then, the entire sky above Spiritual Empress Peak fell into darkness. Above the sky where the storm gathered, beams of purple light pierced through the thick dark clouds and sprinkled down. When the purple light beams reached a certain angle, they swept in another direction. The gorgeous light beams intertwined in a spectacular manner, like a mysterious constellation pattern in the vast universe. An especially strong spatial rhythm shrouded the entire sky above the Grand Canyon. Under countless bewildered gazes, a pair of especially huge purple demonic eyes appeared in the spectacular constellation pattern that spanned across the competition area. This is... Looking at the purple eyes that were like those of an ancient demon god, everyone present was shocked. Even the great emperors on the 10 emperors' throne platforms stood up one after another. Could it be? Fentian Emperor, Star Emperor and the rest looked at each other and saw the astonishment in each other's eyes. Even the Reincarnation Emperor, who had no emotional changes, was slightly moved at that moment. Playing tricks. I'd like to see who will end the battle with one move. As soon as he said that, Sun Yuan's arms swung outwards and the billowing desolation chi immediately turned into countless terrifying dragon rock pillars that soared into the sky. Rumble, wind and thunder suddenly rose and the vigorous energy pillars gathered along Sun Yuan's arms. They quickly condensed into an extremely solid dark red energy ball in front of his palms. Desolation Jade. The sacred tribe's geniuses' faces changed slightly. Looting you from Holy Abysmal Tribe had a dim light in her eyes. The shocking energy ripple caused the space to distort. Although the 2 Desolation Jades were only about 10 meters in diameter, the desolation power that was compressed in them was extremely huge. Sun Yuan's eyes revealed a hideous smile. "I'll let you see my true power, true power." Hua! The aura of an Emperor Realm expert was released without holding back. The earth-shaking desolation power was like a torrent that broke through a dam. Sun Yuan roared, "Desolation rend!" Buzz, the vast and violent airflow roared in all directions. The 2 Desolation Jades in his palms revolved around him at high speed. As they revolved, the number of Desolation Jades multiplied and turned into 8 in an instant. Then, the 8 Desolation Jades split again and the number increased to 16. "Oh my God!" The crowd was shocked. 16 Desolation Jade. It was double the number when he defeated Lu Dingyu from the sacred tribe. Without a doubt, the power was absolutely terrifying. Buzz, as the Desolation Jades revolved, the sky around Sin Yuan turned into a death zone where storms gathered. It would be fatal if one was hit by any of the Desolation Jade. The veins on Sin Yuan's arms bulged and the blood vessels on his forehead bulged. At that moment, it was as if he was holding the endless power of mountains and heavens. Disappear. What an arrogant and conceited thing! Sun Yuan roared. Then, a domineering aura soared into the sky. He raised his arms and the space around him trembled violently. In an instant, the 16 Desolation Jades, which contained the power of destruction, were like stars surrounding the moon. They turned into a huge crimson halo and flew towards Chu-Hen. The shock wave created by the 16 Desolation Jades was like a solar storm. The entire sky above the Grand Canyon competition zone became a death zone. The crimson halo illuminated the world. However, at the same time, the mysterious constellation pattern formed by the thousands of purple light beams in the sky was filled with a terrifying energy rhythm. Clang! An intense explosion pierced through the sky. Along with the rapid collapse of space, a huge vortex was forcefully torn open in the center of the constellation pattern. Rumble! The world shook and people's hearts trembled. At this moment, everyone present could not help but feel fear in the depths of their souls. That's... The fourth elder, Rao Filwan, Li Wushang, and the others widened their eyes in shock and horror. How is this possible? It's impossible. It's impossible. Even the emperors on the 10 Directions Emperor's throne stage couldn't hide their shock. The apocalypse collapsed and the sky collapsed. In the space crack that was like the abyss of the universe, a huge shadow hidden in the darkness was faintly embedded in the depths of everyone's pupils. The aura emitted by the huge black shadow was enough to make one's heart tremble. At that moment, everyone felt like they were being looked down upon by an ancient beast. Roar! The clear roar of a beast shook the entire Spirit Empress Peak. An ancient and mysterious aura poured down. In the next instant, countless rays of purple light interweaved in the sky like billions of lightning bolts. The sky seemed to be covered by a huge purple three-dimensional net of light. As the three-dimensional net rapidly expanded, a majestic beam of light shot out from the mouth of the shadow in the darkness. Rumble! The wind was urgent, the clouds were furious, and the world lost its color. In the process of piercing through the sky, the purple light pillar rapidly turned into a giant purple spear with intersecting purple arcs. In the next instant, under the tens of thousands of astonished gazes, the gigantic purple spear smashed against the scarlet divine halo formed by the 16 primal jade intersecting. Boom! It was like a heaven-slaughtering divine sword that could pierce through everything. Billions of whirlpools of light exploded in the sky above Spirit Empress Peak. Bang! Bang! Rings after rings of scarlet storms swept across the land like exploding stars. The majestic light waves spread out, flattening the Grand Canyon and shaking the spectator seats in all directions. The 16 prehistoric jades shattered in an instant. The beam of purple light gathered the power of divine punishment that could tear the world apart and shot towards Sun Yuan once again. You, the prehistoric sacred clan, stop here! Chu-Hen's arrogant aura shook the sky. Sun Yuan's expression changed drastically, as if he was a small boat in a storm. His pupils shrank to the extreme. Bang! An ear-piercing noise mixed with the mighty purple light waves spread out. The space around Sun Yuan instantly collapsed, and the prehistoric jades around him were instantly crushed. A beam of purple light fell from the sky. Sun Yuan, who had no defensive ability, was pierced into the Grand Canyon below. Rocks collapsed, and the rapidly sunken pit expanded in all directions at the speed of the storm. The spectator stands in all directions were instantly filled with cracks of various sizes. Chapter 1662. Gasp! An unprecedented commotion swept through the entire Grand Canyon competition area like a hurricane. At this moment, more than half of the sects in Spiritual Empress Peak were trembling uneasily. However, the most appalled thing was the hearts of everyone present. Their eyes were wide open, filled with fear and shock. The ground of the Grand Canyon, which had been pierced by the purple aurora, had completely caved in and collapsed. At the competition area of the Grand Canyon, it could no longer be described as a ruin. At first glance, it was hard to find a good piece of land that was intact. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed that such a vast canyon with mountains, rivers, lush forests, and wide river channels could be destroyed so thoroughly in such a short period of time. Apart from the broken rocks, there was nothing else that had any color. At the center of the ground where the light pillar had pierced, inside the huge cylindrical crater. At this moment, Sun Yuan of the desolate sacred clan fell to the ground like a dead dog. His clothes were ragged and his body was covered in blood. His chest seemed to have been pierced by a sharp blade. The broken flesh and internal organs were a shocking sight. Sun Yuan's eyes were wide open, his lips opening and closing like a goldfish out of oxygen. Apart from fear and helplessness, there was no other expression on his face. The primitive holy clan had stopped here. This sentence was like a resounding slap across the faces of all the primitive sacred clan members. If you can take one move from me, you will win. However, this sentence directly destroyed Sun Yuan's heart and desire. One move. He really only used one move. At that time, when Chu Hen said those words, the crowd did not even have the time to cast disdain at him. They did not even have the time to say that he was arrogant and conceited. The battle had already ended. The massive Sacred Race Convention's competition zone was deathly silent. Chen Jingfeng, Yan Hanyu, Lu Dingyu, Mo Nanquan, and all the other super monsters of the strongest sacred clan looked pale. Powerless. Not only Sun Yuan felt powerless. Everyone who had participated in the Sacred Clan Conference was especially powerless. There was a huge sense of defeat in their hearts. On the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform, apart from the Reincarnation Emperor, the other great emperors all left their seats and stood up. At this moment, their eyes were filled with disbelief. This aura, it's him. The sky-scorching martial monarch clenched his fists and said in a deep voice. Star Emperor nodded solemnly. It's really a familiar feeling. The other great emperors were visibly moved. He stared at the huge crack in the center of the constellation pattern. The ancient figure hidden in the dark abyss was like a mysterious ghost from another world. What's that? The Thunder Emperor frowned and asked in confusion. The corner of the burning heaven monarch's eyes narrowed slightly. His throat moved up and down as he spat out 2 words clearly and heavily. Heart beast. Hua, although the voice wasn't loud, the moment it entered the ears, it was like a thunderclap. What? The Lightning Emperor's face paled. 8-star demon pupil heart beast? How is that possible? Unbelievable, right? The desolate Emperor's voice was complicated. Even we don't dare to believe it, to the heart beast. No one present understood it better than these great emperors. 8-star demon pupils. Peak quasi-emperor. These 2 conditions were to summon the heart beast. It was like a dream. The heart beast, it's our sacred clan's heart beast? Everyone from the demonic I sacred clan, including Rao Failwan, the 4th elder, and the others, felt their blood churning at a rapid pace. Astonishment. Absolute astonishment. Indescribable shock. And the trembling that reached deep into their souls. It's really him. The 4th elder's wrinkled face was filled with disbelief and his withered hands were trembling. At this moment, he seemed to see the shadow of the demon pupil emperor on Chu Hen. 2 streams of tears couldn't help but flow out from his old eyes. The heavens have not let down the demon pupil saint clan. After so many years, someone else had summoned that peerless beast after the demon pupil emperor. In an instant, Everyone present widened their eyes and stared at the huge shadow of the dark beast hidden in the abyss of the universe. However, before everyone could even identify its shape, the spatial devouring vortex rapidly closed. The gathering storm quickly receded and the intertwining purple light beams quickly dissipated. The huge pressure that shrouded everyone's hearts also disappeared. He's gone back? Everyone in the audience was startled. At the same time, Chu Hen's aura in the void also became a lot more chaotic. Around his body, circles of restless, evil, and baleful aura flowed. Even Chu Hen's purple demon pupils were overflowing with a faint blood-red glow. Chu Hen? The heavenly wolf star guard Rao Failwan's expression changed slightly. The fourth elder, who was standing to the side, also had a worried look in his eyes. Looks like he's barely borrowing the power of the heart beast. The sky-scorching emperor quickly identified the real situation. Yes. The Star Emperor nodded in affirmation. This is already his limit based on his cultivation and the strength of his bloodline. He's far from being able to control the heart beast. That's right. If he's really summoned the heart beast, that attack just now wouldn't be that weak. Looks like it's because the heart demon is too strong that he sensed the heart beast's aura in advance. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Even though it's enough for us to take it seriously. They had to admit. The great emperors heaved a sigh of relief. After all, in their opinion, Chu Hen was still inexperienced and was far from being comparable to the demonic Eye Emperor. Chu Hen was almost invaded by the heart demon just by borrowing the power of the heart beast. It was obvious that Chu Hen still had a long way to go before he could completely summon the heart beast. Even so, the great emperors had a whole new level of respect for Chu Hen. Hearing the great emperor's conversation, the lightning emperor sat down quietly. There was a faint flash of lightning in his deep, cold eyes. The battle ended in an instant. Everyone's hearts were unsettled for a long time. After Yu Shinin of the Samsara Saint tribe, Sen Yuan of the Antiquity Holy tribe also lost to Chu Hen. In just 2 battles, everyone felt as though they had been separated by a few centuries, and they were all in a daze. This guy is too monstrous. Yen Hanyu let out a long sigh and glanced at the spectators of the Holy-Eyed Saint tribe. I finally know why Qinyu looks at him differently. Ha ha! Chen Jingfeng shook his head and laughed bitterly. Alright. Even the heart beast has come out. I can't help but be impressed. Lu Tingyu of the Abyssal Saint tribe, Mo Nanquan of the Devouring Saint tribe, and the others looked at Chu Hen as though they were looking at a monster. Peak Boundary Emperor Realm. He had killed 2 great emperors in a row. One of them was Yu Shinin of the Samsara Saint tribe, who had mastered the power of Heaven Dao. He was no longer just a monster. The Sacred Clan Conference is really a huge change. The demonic Eye Saint tribe deserves to be the champion. The heavens will not destroy the demonic Eye Saint tribe. If it was said that everyone objected to Chu Hen using the power of the chaotic body when he defeated Yu Shinin, then Sen Yuan's miserable defeat directly shut up everyone's mouths. Even if Chu Hen didn't use the power of the chaotic body, it was inevitable that he would defeat Yu Shinin. Everyone in the spectator stands looked up at the sky. The sky gradually cleared up. Chu Hen's figure seemed to overlap with the angle of the sun. The chaotic body and demonic Eye Saint tribe's double bloodline showed their dominance. As expected of the son of Chu Chintian and Li Jixia, this sacred clan conference will go down in history. The blood moon descends, sacred star guards. The storm of the sacred clan conference, which had lasted for several months, was finally at its peak. Before the conference, the Lightning Saint tribe rose, and the demonic Eye Saint tribe lived in fear. Just when everyone thought that the demonic Eye Saint tribe was about to be replaced, Chu Hen killed the Lightning Saint tribe, slaughtered the Dragon Blood, destroyed the Samsara Saint tribe, and killed the Primordial Chaos. The young man's singing skills lived up to his reputation. The 3-foot-long spear pierced through the rainbow. One spear killed the lightning saint tribe. The great Tao destroyed the samsara saint tribe. The dragon blood, primordial chaos, darkness, and light were all reduced to stepping stones for Chu Hen to rule the top of the canyon. At this moment, he seemed to be announcing the return of a king to the world. The demonic I Saint tribe had returned. The Chaos Saint tribe had returned. Divine King Wu Ji's book Friends Exchange Group, 149825000. Interested readers can join to discuss the plot or chat to make friends. Perhaps the book Friends in the group can create a good friendship. Chapter 1663. Slaying Thunder, Slaying Dragon Blood, Breaking Reincarnation, Slaying Chaos. The young man's song lived up to his name. At this moment, the young figure who stood proudly at the top of the Grand Canyon competition zone made a declaration to the entire world with an arrogant attitude. The Demon Eye clan was back. The Chaos clan was back. The dazzling light was as dazzling as the stars in the sky. At this moment, all the geniuses of the 10 great sacred clans lowered their heads. At this moment, all the geniuses from the various sects and forces were dejected. Can you announce the result now? The one who spoke was the red-eyed burning sky emperor. The rest of the great emperors understood what he meant. Other than the reincarnation emperor, who was as calm as still water, the chaos emperor's face was gloomy and cold. They had endured for so long. They had been waiting for an opportunity, but who would have thought that the might of the demon I Saint clan's heart-beast would make them lose face? Shangguan Wutsa, the Lord of Spirit Essence Peak, heaved a sigh of relief. I hereby announce that the winner of this round is the Demon Eye clan, Chu Hen. Although Chu Hen possessed 2 great bloodlines, he had appeared today as a member of the Demon Eye Saint clan. Therefore, he was judged to be on the Demon Eye's side in name. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge the ring? Shangguan Wutsa continued. Challenge the ring? Everyone was stunned. Then, they subconsciously looked at the Holy-Eyed clan's audience. Only Miss Bai Qianyu is left? Yes, I wonder if she will go up? Due to the absence of Lu Yuji and Dragon Destroyer, there were only 8 people left in the finals. Mo Nanquan, Yu Shinin, and Xin Yuan, the 3 top contenders, were eliminated. There were also 3 other people with relatively weaker reputations. It was clear that it was impossible for them to challenge Chu Hen's prestige. Then, only the Holy-Eyed clan's Miss Bai Qianyu was left. It was thought-provoking. Everyone's eyes were filled with indescribable meaning. Demon Eye. The Divine Eye. They had always been enemies. At this moment, only Chu Hen and Bai Qianyu, the 2 old enemies, were left on the field. The wheel of fate seemed to be spinning perfectly. Will Miss Bai fight? No way. Even Yu Shinin and Xin Yuan lost. She's no match for Chu Hen. But now Chu Hen has no more trump cards and he just summoned his heart-beast. He's clearly in a bad state. This is the Holy-Eyed Sacred Tribe's chance. The atmosphere below the stage gradually became a little restless. Yi Yao, Qiao Shaowan, and the others looked at Bai Qianyu nervously. Sister Qianyu wouldn't do anything to Big Brother Chu Hen, would she? Yi Yao asked. That's hard to say. Even Chu Hen treated her like that. Zhao Qingkai casually added, and was immediately met with another wave of murderous glares. Chu Hen, who was hovering above the Grand Canyon, also looked at Bai Qianyu with a complicated expression. To be honest, for some reason, at this moment, Chu Hen actually hoped that Bai Qianyu would come up. He even wanted to look at her up close. Of course, if Bai Qianyu came up, Chu Hen wouldn't do anything to her. That also meant that the Demon Eye Sacred Tribe wouldn't be able to win. Just as the atmosphere in the arena became tense, Bai Qianyu slowly stood up. Everyone's heartstrings trembled. She's going to fight? Yi Yao, Long Qingyang, and Qiao Shaowan all felt their hearts sink. However, to everyone's surprise, Bai Qianyu didn't seem to have any intention of entering the arena. She calmly glanced at the Emperor's throne platform. It's getting late. If there's nothing else, let's end the Sacred Race Conference here. Whoosh! That one sentence directly expressed her attitude. Countless people breathed a sigh of relief. But there were also many people who expressed their regret. What a pity! I thought I'd be able to witness a battle between two eye technique. You're thinking too much. Chu Hen is too strong. There's no doubt he'll win. Not necessarily. I think Miss Bai Qianyu just doesn't want to take advantage of him. She's already forfeited. You can say whatever you want. Noisy. Restless. With Bai Qianyu's forfeit, there was no longer any doubt about the outcome of the Sacred Race Conference. Chu Hen. Congratulations to the Demon Eye Sacred Tribe for winning. The Demon Eye Sacred Tribe is the strongest. The Demon Eye Sacred Tribe will win. Increasingly enthusiastic cheers and applause sounded from all directions. Without a doubt, this was an outcome that exceeded everyone's expectations. It was an outcome that no one dared to imagine. Before this, everyone thought that the Sacred Race Conference would be a nightmare for the Demon Eye Sacred Tribe. Especially with the rise of the Lightning Sacred Tribe, they didn't even have a chance to breathe. But now, the Demon Eye Sacred Clan had returned with the momentum of a king. After experiencing 10,000 years of trials and tribulations, they once again stood proudly at the summit of the Sacred Clan Convention. Great! Great! Ha 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 ha, we're the champions! The eyes of the Demon Eye Sacred Tribe members were red. The wrinkled old face of the fourth elder was filled with excitement and excitement. Not only did they protect the glory of the Demon Eye Sacred Tribe, but they also reclaimed their dignity. All of this was due to the young figure that exuded a domineering dominance. The winner would enjoy the applause and glory. The loser would quietly leave the stage. The protagonist of this Sacred Race Conference was only Chu Hen. Yu Shinin, Sun Yuan, Mo Nanquan, Yen Hanyu, Chen Jingfeng, and the rest were all reduced to supporting roles. On the 10 Directions Emperor's throne stage, the great emperors stood up one after another. What a feast for the eyes! I didn't come in vain. The Burning Sky Emperor sighed. Hee, what a pity! The Star Emperor said as he glanced at the Reincarnation Emperor's position. They thought that this would be the last Sacred Race Conference. Who would have thought that the invincible Reincarnation Sacred Tribe would be dragged down the altar at the last moment? Let's go. My clone has been outside for too long. It's a little exhausting. Haha, that's true. The next time everyone gathers here will probably be the 24th Sacred Race Conference. I hope the Abyss Emperor can come then. The Great Emperor's gazes then turned to the Abyss Emperor. The Demon Eye Emperor and the White Emperor would not appear again. Only the Abyss Emperor was looking forward to it. Great Emperors, please wait a moment. Suddenly, just as the Sacred Race Conference was about to end, the Lord of Spirit Empress Peak, Shangguan Wuzi, stopped everyone on the 10 Emperors' throne platforms. Is there anything else, Peak Lord Shangguan? The Desolation Emperor asked casually. Replying to the Desolate Emperor, Shangguan Wuzi glanced at the Thunderbolt Heavenly Emperor. His eyes flashed with a hint of hesitation before he said, ever since the start of the Sacred Race Conference, the Spiritual Precipice Peak has been doing its best and did not dare to slack off. There's something I hope the Great Emperors can consider. Say it. Please add one more spot to the 10 strongest sacred races and place the Thunder Emperor. Wow! Shangguan Wuzi's words caused an uproar in the entire Sacred Race Conference. What did he mean? Was he trying to cause trouble? As expected, I knew that things wouldn't be so simple when the Thunderbolt Emperor appeared here today. Shangguan Wuzi is such a smart person, why is he so muddle-headed this time? He probably colluded with the Thunder Emperor long ago and used this Sacred Race Conference as an opportunity to push him to the throne. Who would have thought that the Demon Eye Sacred Race would take the championship this time? Otherwise, it wouldn't be as easy as adding one more spot. There was no lack of smart people present. Many of them could see through Shangguan Wuzi's intentions. After all, The Thunder Emperor's performance on the 10 Emperor's throne platforms was enough to explain everything. The Thunder Sacred Clan wanted to replace the Demon Eye Sacred Clan. If the champion was the Samsara Sacred Race or another sacred race, the Thunder Emperor would naturally replace the Demon Eye Sacred Race. But man proposes, God disposes. Chu Hen was crowned God after 3 battles. He went all the way to the top of the canyon. Since there was no reason to kick the Demon Eye Sacred Race out, they could only give the Thunder Emperor another Emperor's throne platform. The great emperors looked at each other and then at the Thunder Emperor after hearing Shangguan Wuzi's suggestion. The Star Emperor said, "Since ancient times, there have only been 10 strongest sacred clans. Adding another one doesn't seem appropriate. Plus, 11 strongest sacred clans doesn't sound good, right? But the Thunder Emperor has already become an emperor. It's a blessing for the human realm. The Thunder Emperor should enjoy such a great reputation," Shangguan Wuzi said respectfully. "That makes sense," the primeval Great Emperor agreed. "I think so too," the Dragon Blood Emperor chimed in with a light tone. As soon as the 2 great emperors spoke, a heated discussion broke out among the crowd. To be honest, the Thunder Emperor does have the ability to do so. But 11 strongest sacred clans doesn't sound good. Plus, there have only been 10 sacred clans since ancient times. If that's the case, we can only replace it. Replace. That was the essence. It was just a cover. As for who to replace, everyone looked at the Demon Eye Sacred Race and the Holy Eyed Sacred Race. Only these 2 sacred clans didn't have a great emperor. If they had to replace it, they had to choose from these 2 sacred clans. However, the Holy-Eyed Sacred Race was very strong and had a good relationship with Fun Tian, the Star Emperor, the Great Wilderness, and even the Beast region. The Thunder Emperor couldn't swallow the Holy-Eyed Sacred Race. Of course, that didn't mean they couldn't swallow it in the future. After all, having a great emperor and not having one were 2 completely different concepts. The other was the Demon Eye Sacred Race. However, Chu Hen had seized the championship of the Sacred Race Convention just a second ago. If he still wanted to replace him now, wouldn't he be looking for trouble for himself? Suddenly, Bai Qianyu took a few slow steps forward. "Peak Lord Shangguan, do you think we don't deserve the title of Strongest Sacred Clan, just because we don't have a great emperor?" Shangguan Wuzi shook his head. "I don't dare. I just want to add another great emperor. Since you dared to say that, please face my question. There are only 10 strongest sacred clans. Do you think that the Holy-Eyed Sacred Race and the Demon Eye Sacred Race don't deserve that title because they don't have a great emperor?" Bai Qianyu asked. This. Shangguan Wuzi didn't know how to answer. Bai Qianyu smirked. "If that's the case, let me tell you. The Holy-Eyed Sacred Race doesn't have a great emperor today, but that doesn't mean they won't have one in the future." Screech. As soon as his voice fell, Bai Qianyu's eyes widened, and an extremely powerful and transcendent rhythm surged from him. His eyes glowed with the majesty of a great emperor, and a dazzling golden light erupted from them. Whoosh! An invisible aura spread out in all directions. Bai Qianyu's beautiful and holy eyes glowed with a shocking rhythm. A sharp wave of air trembled. 8 black dots of light appeared in the depths of Bai Qianyu's golden eyes. Then, the 8 black dots slowly rotated in a clockwise direction. Buzz buzz! Another piercingly cold aura spread out, and one of the 8 black dots suddenly split into 2. Immediately, the 9 black dots rotated like the stars in the vast universe. Rumble! In an instant, everyone turned pale with fright. Shangguan Wuzi's face was even paler. 9 Astral Divine Eyes. Chapter 1664. 9 Astral Divine Eyes. Boom! Bai Qianyu's peerless elegance was released from his body. In an instant, the entire Grand Canyon competition area erupted into an unprecedented uproar. The great emperors on the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform were shocked. Shangguan Wuzi, the Lord of Spirit Empress Peak, had a deathly pale complexion. He couldn't help but feel the urge to surrender when he saw Bai Qianyu's golden pupils. Following the divine eyes of the 9 stars, the aura exuded from Bai Qianyu's body shook the surroundings with a crushing force. Her aura surpassed Xin Yuan from the Chaos Holy Tribe, and was even slightly stronger than Yu Shinin from the Reincarnation Holy Tribe. Everyone's expression changed again. Ha! Emperor Realm! Another Emperor Realm expert! Boom! It was like a bolt from the blue had struck everyone's mind. Mo Nanquan, Lu Tingyu, Yen Hanyu, Chen Jingfeng, and the other geniuses widened their eyes, as if they had suffered a great setback. Especially Yen Hanyu and Chen Jingfeng. The two of them looked at each other in shock, and a complicated look appeared between their brows. A sense of disparity. It was like a rapidly expanding ravine, directly separating the two from Bai Qianyu. Zeng. Bai Qianyu's eyes were like the moon, coldly looking at the leader of the Spirit Precipice Peak, Shangguan Wuzi. In at most 10 years, the Divine Eye Saint tribe will have another great emperor. I am the daughter of the White Emperor, the future Divine Eye Great Emperor. Her words were calm and light, but full of unparalleled elegance. The Divine Eye Saint tribe did not have a great emperor now, but it did not mean that there would not be one in the future. I am the daughter of the White Emperor, the future Divine Eye Great Emperor. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. At this moment, the impact that Bai Qianyu brought to everyone's soul was impressively greater than any of the fierce confrontations in the Divine Clan Conference. In at most 10 years, the Divine Eye Saint tribe will have another great emperor. It directly shook everyone's heartstrings. It also crushed all the face of Shangguan Wuzi and the Lightning Emperor. The Thunder Great Emperor was strong, but he paled in comparison to the God Eye Emperor. If he dared to replace the Divine Eye Saint clan now, he would have to bear the wrath of the Divine Eye Saint clan in 10 years. Oh my God, Sister Qianyu is so domineering. On the other side of the spectators' stand, Yi Yao, Qiao Shaowan, Qingxue, and the others were completely smitten by Bai Qianyu. Yes, she really is a super perfect woman. Same here. Bai Qianyu's red lips parted slightly, her golden peach blossom eyes glanced at Chu Hen and said, "The Demon Eye Saint clan doesn't have a great emperor now, but it doesn't mean that there won't be one in the future. Just with the 8-star Demon Eye's Heart Beast summoning, let me ask you, who here can compete with him? Who could compare?" This sentence once again caused everyone to narrow their eyes involuntarily. He was astonished. Everyone was even more astonished. Bai Qianyu actually spoke up for Chu Hen? The people of the Holy Eye Saint clan were actually helping the Demon Eye Saint clan. What's going on? Aren't the two clans archenemies? Was Lady Bai defending Chu Hen just now? I think I felt it a little. Many of the spectators had a strange expression on their faces. However, Shangguan Wuzi's face was extremely ugly. His inner thoughts were indeed as most people had guessed. Because of the rise of the Lightning Saint clan, he wanted to use this sacred clan conference as an opportunity to push the Lightning Emperor to the altar. Even if Lei Kuan suffered a loss in the second round, he could still forcefully push the Lightning Emperor to the top. However, Chu Hen overcame all obstacles and defeated Yu Shinin and Xin Yuan, two great emperors in the finals, and ascended to the top of the canyon in a dominating manner. Shangguan Wuzi was already feeling guilty when he saw Chu Hen's double bloodline boundary and the 8-star Demon Eye's Heart Beast summoning. That was why Shangguan Wuzi said to increase the quota of the strongest sacred clan. And this fuse directly ignited the anger of the Holy Eye Saint clan. Bai Qianyu also shocked the crowd with her most unexpected and arrogant attitude. Under the gaze of Bai Qianyu's 9-star divine eyes, Shangguan Wuzi's aura was completely suppressed. He smiled awkwardly. "I didn't expect Miss Bai to have already reached the 9-star divine eye's bloodline boundary. With such strength, you are the true champion of the Sacred Clan Conference, wow!" As soon as these words came out, there was a commotion outside the arena. Many people revealed looks of disdain. "Haha, This Shangguan Wutsa is muddle-headed, right? Why didn't I realize that his EQ was so low before? Flatter one and step on the other. There's really no one else like him. Did he not hear that Miss Bai was speaking up for Chu Hen? At this moment, many people's respect and impression of Shangguan Wutsa was greatly reduced. It seemed that since the second round of the Soaring Cloud Balcony, Shangguan Wutsa had been flattering the Lightning Saint clan, and now he was flattering the Holy Eye Saint clan. His habit of sitting on the fence was clearly exposed. No wonder the Spirit Barren Peak, which has more than 10,000 years of heritage, is like this. He will never become the true ruler of the North. Low IQ is contagious. I better not interact with the Spirit Barren Peak in the future. It's too embarrassing. While the crowd was disappointed with Shangguan Wutsa, there was a chorus of agreement from the audience. That's right. Miss Bai's strength deserves to be the champion. An emperor with the 9-star divine eyes. No one can beat her. There was no doubt that Bai Qianyu was also very popular. Moreover, there were many forces that had a good relationship with the Holy Eye Saint clan. After being reminded by Shangguan Wutsa, many people were also biased towards Bai Qianyu's side. Miss Bai, we support you to be the champion. That's right, the Holy Eye Saint clan is the strongest. As the noise grew louder, the Demon Eye Saint clan couldn't help but worry. They couldn't be sure of what Bai Qianyu was thinking. Others might not know. But the people of the Demon Eye Saint clan were very clear. There was an unusual relationship between Bai Qianyu and Chu Hen. However, that relationship was broken in the Purple Imperial City of the Demonic Eye Sacred clan. Did Bai Qianyu have any resentment towards Chu Hen, or even the Demon Eye Saint clan? They couldn't be sure. It wasn't just the Demon Eye Saint clan. Even Yi Yao, Long Qingyang and the others had a solemn look on their faces. At this moment, Bai Qianyu lifted her beautiful eyes and looked straight at the young figure in the sky above the Grand Canyon. The two's eyes met. Chu Hen's heartstrings trembled. A pair of demonic purple eyes. A pair of sacred and majestic golden eyes. Looking at each other across space, it was like two stars separated by 2 centuries. Old enemy. Fate. Who would have thought that they were two people who didn't know each other would have such a deep relationship? The wheel of fate spun. The two were like 2 stars in the vast Milky Way, changing their original trajectory and quietly intertwining. In an instant, the past was still vivid in his mind. Looking at the familiar face in front of him, the corner of Bai Qianyu's mouth twitched. I can't beat him, I've always been losing. Chapter 1665. Martial Apex Divine King Chapter 1665. I love you, 3,000 times currently typing, please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 1666. Spiritual Empress Peak. Below the mountain gate. Following the end of the Sacred Clan Conference, a wave of people started to leave the Spiritual Empress Peak. Very shocking. If it was anyone else, I would be very surprised, except for you. Dongfang Sect leader thinks too highly of me. Martial Sect, Han Yun Sect, Spirit Phoenix Valley and other forces gathered with Chu Hen and the rest at the mountain gate outside the Spiritual Empress Peak. Regarding Chu Hen's victory in the Sacred Clan Conference, many people felt as if they were dreaming. But somehow they felt that it was reasonable. There was no other reason but because he was Chu Hen. This trip was not in vain. Spirit Phoenix Valley Master Mei Zhang exclaimed. Chu Hen smiled. Thank you, seniors, for coming all the way to the northern land to cheer for me. Chu Hen is very grateful. Sigh. Mei Zhang raised his hand. You are being too polite. It is rare to see a Sacred Clan conference. We are here to join in the fun. Chu Hen smiled and did not say much. It's almost time for us to leave. If you have time, go back to the Midland. Dongfang Hing said gently with a hint of expectation in his eyes. The martial alliance is about to be established. You will definitely be amazed. Hee, you are right. Because of you, the martial alliance was born. You must go back, Han Yun's sect leader said. The destruction of the War God Palace, ushering in the new life of the Martial Alliance. After the battle in the Midland, the new forces formed by the Martial sect, Han Yun sect, Spirit Phoenix Valley and other forces built the base of the Martial Alliance in the area that was originally under the jurisdiction of the War God Palace. Now that he thought about it, it had been almost a year, and Chu Hen had been away from the Midland for a long time. All right, I will. Chu Hen nodded. Junior Chu Hen, we will go back first. Qiu Xingyi, Wang Li, Wu Yan and the rest also said. Take care, senior brothers. Ha 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 ha, now that you call us senior brother, we feel like we can't take it anymore. Wang Li laughed. How could that be? Once an elder brother, I will always be an elder brother. Chu Hen will always remember the days we went through together. His words made Qiu Xingyi, Wang Li, Wu Yan and the others feel relieved. Don't worry. Once Martial Alliance stabilizes, we'll train harder. We definitely won't be a burden to you, Wu Yan said. Chu Hen smiled and cupped his fists to show his gratitude. After that, the people from the Martial Alliance bid farewell and left. Brat Chu Hen will be taking our leave as well. Shifeng Zi and Zhao Xuanxiong of Hidden Sky City also came over to greet him. When I return to the Midland, I will visit you again. In Chu Hen's heart, Shifeng Zi was like a teacher and a friend. Moreover, although he was old, he still came to the Sacred Clan Conference from far away. It was enough to prove his friendship. After a few words of advice, Shifeng Zi and Zhao Xuanxiong left with Dongfang Hengji and the rest from the Martial Alliance. Congratulations on winning the championship. I take back what I said to you previously. The Sacred Clan team didn't leave immediately. Lu Dingyu walked in front of Chu Hen and generously expressed her apologies for what had happened. Chu Hen and Luo Mengchang looked at each other and smiled. Senior Sister Lu, you're exaggerating. He's not that narrow-minded. Luo Mengchang smiled faintly. Mengchang is right. Senior Sister Lu, don't take it to heart. Chu Hen won the championship of the Sacred Clan Conference. In comparison, Luo Mengchang was happier. Even if the Sacred Clan won the championship, she wouldn't be so happy. Lu Dingyu smiled helplessly and shook her head. It seems like you don't plan to return to the Sacred Clan with us? Luo Mengchang's beautiful eyes twinkled and her smile was like a blooming pear flower. You guys go back first. I'm a little late. I'm afraid you'll have to leave with us. Before Luo Mengchang could finish her sentence, a lady in a black robe walked over from the other side. Ain't you? Luo Mengchang was stunned. Lu Dingyu and the people from Abysmal Sacred Tribe behind her looked respectful too. Elder Guyu, you have to leave with us, Guyu said. Why? Luo Mengchang was confused. Then, Guyu walked next to Luo Mengchang and whispered in her ear. Hearing that, Luo Mengchang's eyes widened and she replied in shock. Really? The news just came from the clan. Luo Mengchang obviously couldn't control her emotions. She looked back at Chu Hen with her eyes glowing. I have to return to the Sacred Clan first. I'll look for you later. Do you want me to go back with you? Chu Hen asked. No need. Before Luo Mengchang could reply, Guyu rejected her. You have other things to do. Although he didn't know what exactly had happened, judging from Luo Mengchang's expression, it obviously wasn't anything bad. Plus, the Sacred Clan Conference had just ended. The clans definitely had many things to do. Since she rejected him, Chu Hen didn't intend to insist. All right. Chu Hen looked back at Luo Mengchang and smiled gently. Wait for me to look for you. Sure. Luo Mengchang smiled smartly. Also, remember to miss me. I can't take it anymore. Sister Mengchang, please take care of us. Yi Yao protested. That's right. Who can stand it? Xiao Shaowan echoed. I'm sorry. I'll take care in the future. Luo Mengchang quickly apologized to the few of them. Her sweet smile was extremely charming. Then, Luo Mengchang left with the Abysmal Saint Tribe's team. The people from the Demon Eye Saint Tribe, who had been waiting on the other side, finally walked over. Looking at the fourth elder, Rao Filwan, and the others, Chu Hen's eyes darkened. "Thank you." It wasn't a congratulation. It wasn't a compliment either. It was a thank you. The surrounding people were stunned by the fourth elder's words. "Thank you for protecting the dignity of the demon I Saint tribe," the fourth elder said sincerely. It sounded like he was treating them as outsiders. But in reality, Chu Hen's surname was Chu, and the demon I Saint tribe's surname was Li. Speaking of which, the mission on Chu Hen's shoulders didn't take up much on the demon I Saint tribe's side. However, he participated in the sacred clan conference as a member of the demon I Saint tribe. Chu Hen smiled. "Fourth elder, you don't have to say much. I only know that my mother is from the demon I Saint tribe, and the blood of the demon I Saint tribe flows in my body." The fourth elder nodded, full of relief. The heavenly wolf star guard Rao Failwan said apologetically. "My actions in the demon I Saint tribe were really despicable. I apologize for that." "Me too." Li Kuan's face was full of guilt. "We were too narrow-minded. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to protect the demon I Saint tribe. The past is in the past. Let it go with the wind." Previously, it was because of Bai Qianyu. Chu Hen was angry at Li Kuan and Rao Filwan. However, after the Sacred Clan Conference, Chu Hen's opinion of the two changed. Especially when Li Kuan defended the demon I Saint tribe's honor with his life even though he knew he couldn't defeat the Thunder Kuan. Chu Hen admired him. "Aren't you angry? About the mistakes I've done in the past?" Li Kuan said. "I won't. To be honest, you're my distant cousin. As the younger cousin, what's wrong with being lectured by the older cousin?" Chu Hen smiled. The word cousin instantly brought Chu Hen and the demon I Saint tribe closer together. Li Kuan was even more flattered. He didn't know what to say. Enemies had to take revenge. Relatives had to be close. There were some things that Chu Hen wouldn't care too much about. For those who truly cared about the demon I Saint tribe, the best choice was to let bygones be bygones. Seeing this, the fourth elder was the most gratified. He looked at Chu Hen meaningfully. "Let's return to the demon I Saint tribe after we're done with the matters there." "Return to the demon I Saint tribe?" Chu Hen was startled for a moment. Then, he looked at the fourth elder's meaningful eyes and nodded. "All right. The fourth elder didn't say anything else and led the demon I Saint tribe away. The teams gathered at the spiritual Empress Peak gradually moved further and further away. Anticipation when they came. Regret when they left. The storm regarding the Sacred Clan Conference would continue to erupt. This time, it wasn't just the Midland. The whole world was about to boil. Behind the boiling world, there would definitely be a storm and dark tides gathering. Perhaps this world would once again undergo a great change. The storm that would sweep across the human realm was quietly brewing. Chapter 1667. As the Sacred Race Conference came to an end, the continents of the major domains were turned upside down, as if a storm had passed through. Boiling. The entire territory of the human race was boiling over. It's finally over. This result is too unexpected. Yeah. I thought that the Samsara Saint clan was going to become the ruler of the human domain. Yushanine's loss was not undeserved. A pity was a pity. Even though countless people thought that Yusheniing would win before the match, when Chu Hen's chaotic body and heart beast summoning appeared, no one had any objections to the result. The Sacred Race Conference. One battle to become a god. From the Light Saint clan's Murongyao, the Darkness Saint clan's Linen, the Samsara Saint clan's Zhongqishi, the Thunder Saint clan's Lei Kuan, the Dragon Blood Saint clan's Long Mie, the Samsara Saint clan's Yushanine, and the Chaos Saint clan's Sin Yuan. Chu Hen had achieved a miracle of defeating 7 people by himself. In the end, he stood at the peak of the Grand Canyon in an extraordinary manner. He announced to the world that the Demon I Saint clan's bloodline boundary was still the strongest. He also announced to the entire human domain that the chaotic body boundary had not disappeared. The day when chaos returned. It would definitely be earth-shattering. The demon I Saint clan has risen, and chaos has returned. This world will not be peaceful again. The southern continent. Immortal Seal Domain. At the main peak of the Heavenly Mystery Palace, Palace Master Mu Fei looked up at the moon that had lost its blood-red color. Even though the stars protecting the blood moon had already dispersed, that seemingly bright moon actually had an indescribable gloominess. Old man, what are you gloomy about? My brother won the championship. Are you not happy? Old Een Monkey Han Yu poked his head out sneakily. What a pity. If you hadn't stopped me, I would have seen Chu Hen win the championship with my own eyes. I will regret it for the rest of my life. I heard that even the demon I Saint clan's heart beast and chaotic body appeared. There's also the Samsara Saint clan's heavenly Tao and the divine I Saint clan's 9-star divine eyes bloodline. I've lost so much this time. Samsara heavenly Tao, 9-star divine eyes, demon eye heart beast, the chaotic body. In addition, there were many quasi-emperors competing against each other, and 3 emperor-level experts descending upon the world. Without a doubt, the Sacred Race Convention this time around could be said to be the blossoming of 100 flowers, and it would definitely be recorded in the annals of history. For those who were unable to witness this scene with their own eyes, it could be considered a great loss. However, Mu Fei's expression was solemn. He shook his head slightly. It might not be a good thing for the demon I Sacred Clan to win, not necessarily a good thing? Old Een Monkey frowned. Old man, I don't like what you're saying. Did my brother offend you? What's wrong with winning the championship? Mu Fei coldly looked back at the old Een Monkey. Human nature is complicated and full of mutual deceit and deception. Chu Rantian was the best example. Chu Rantian was mentioned again. Old Een Monkey's expression changed slightly. The corners of his eyes narrowed and his expression became solemn. What do you know? Don't ask what you shouldn't ask and don't meddle in things you shouldn't. I'm just asking. Is there something between the Chaos Race and the Demon Eye Sacred Clan? Mu Fei completely ignored old Een Monkey's questions. It was as if the Chaos Body and the Demon Eye Sacred Clan were a taboo to him. And when the two were added together, it was the taboo of the taboo. Sigh, a chaotic world must fight. Mu Fei let out a long sigh. In such a chaotic world, I do hope that race can take control of the human race. Otherwise what? Old Een Monkey asked. Mu Fei shook his head. Recently, blood has flowed in the eternal heavens, and the success of a general has withered thousands of bones. Although the heaven following does not exist, the heaven-defying corpses have formed mountains. The true chaotic world has only just begun, only just begun. The Sacred Race Convention had clearly ended. But from Mu Fei's words, it sounded as if this was merely a summon before the storm. What nonsense are you spouting now, old fool? Old Een Monkey scolded. He looked a little indifferent on the surface, but he seemed to smell an ominous aura in his heart. Could it be that the world was going to change again? If the situation were to change again, it would directly affect the entire human race. The Sacred Race Convention had ended. Although the various continents were in an uproar, many of the major forces and the sacred race were abnormally quiet. They did not know why. It was as if there was an undercurrent quietly surging under the storm. Kuan City. Heavy traffic, feasting, and feasting. The entirety of Kuan City was filled with songs and dances. In order to celebrate Chu Hen winning the Sacred Race Convention, Mount Kunlia's lord, Gong Yangyu, directly opened the gates of Kuan City and said that all the fine wine and delicacies in the city could be enjoyed unconditionally. He even gave the people in the city divine weapons, and many spirit pills and miraculous medicines at specific times. For a time, the already prosperous Kuan City was bustling with noise and excitement. Why are you here? Sect Leader Qiao of the Myriad World Sect and Hall Master Xing Yi of the Jiuhua Palace are here to congratulate you. At the top of the city gate tower halfway up Mount Kunlia's mountain, Long Qingyang walked towards Chu Hen, who was sitting on the edge of the city gate tower. All of the human race was in an uproar. All of Koan City was cheering. Only Chu Hen was sitting here alone. Chu Hen turned around and smiled. Nothing much, I just wanted some peace and quiet. Is there something on your mind? Aren't you happy that you won the convention? Long Qingyang asked. As he spoke, Long Qingyang took out 2 jugs of fine wine. He tossed one into Chu Hen's hands. He opened one himself. Congratulations, ha. Chu Hen chuckled and nodded. He opened the flask and clinked glasses with Long Qingyang's before gulping down the bejeweled nectar. Are you worried about something? Long Qingyang asked. I don't know, Chu Hen replied, his eyes filled with an inexplicable meaning. I have a feeling that something big is about to happen. Oh! The Sacred Race Convention seems to be just the beginning. An even more violent storm is yet to come. Chu Hen glanced at Long Qingyang with a cautious expression. Long Qingyang's expression also grew more solemn. Before the Sacred Race Convention began, Chu Hen had already been under a lot of pressure. He had thought that he would be relieved of a burden after winning the championship. But from the looks of it, Chu Hen did not remove the weight on his body as he had imagined. The Lightning Sacred Clan is a hidden danger, Long Qingyang said. Chu Hen smiled and did not refute. Forget it, I might have been overthinking. Today is a happy day, let's not talk about this. Then, Chu Hen jumped down from the city wall. He hugged Long Qingyang's shoulder. Big brother, are you and sister-in-law not getting married yet? Ha, I really can't hide anything from you. I was just about to tell you that I plan to marry Yorong in 3 days. You're not drunk, are you? What a joke, I'm serious, and I don't want to drag it out any longer. That's good. The 2 brothers chatted as they walked toward the main hall of Koan City. Tonight, the whole city was celebrating. 3 days later, Long Qingyang and Su Yorong held their wedding in Koan City under the witness of Mount Kunlia's Gong Yangyu, Thousand World Sect's Qiao Yong, Palace of Jihua's Xing Yi, and Li Wushang. It was a very lively scene. Drums and gongs filled the air, and a sea of people filled the air. Many guests were celebrating. Although Luo Mengshang had been absent from Long Qingyang's wedding, she had sent a generous gift from the Saint Nether tribe. Just as Long Qingyang had said, he did not want to drag it out any longer. Su Yorong had been by his side for so many years without a word. Now, the Sacred Race Convention was over. Everything had stabilized. Long Qingyang had fulfilled his promise. At the banquet, Long Zhan's face was beaming, and he laughed heartily. Chu Hen, Long Xuanshuang, Yi Yao, Qiao Shaowan, and the rest all gave their sincere blessings as well. On the second day after Long Qingyang's wedding, Chu Hen and Li Wushang prepared to return to the Demon Eye Tribe's Ziyu City. Chapter 1668. You're going back so soon? Not staying for a few more days? Outside Koan City, Long Qingyang, Su Yorong, his wife, Long Zhan, and Long Xuanshuang looked at Chu Hen, who was about to return with Li Wushang. Chu Hen smiled. 4th Elder should still be waiting for me. I'll go back and see what's going on. I'll go with you, Long Qingyang asked. Don't. Chu Hen quickly raised his hand. Big brother, you've just gotten married. You should spend more time with sister-in-law. You're not needed this time. Long Qingyang was speechless. Big brother Chu Hen, sister Xuanshuang, and I can go with you this time. We have nothing to do here anyway, Yi Yao suggested. Long Xuanshuang, who was at the side, raised her beautiful eyes and looked at Chu Hen with a pleading gaze. This. Chu Hen hesitated for a moment, then replied, If you want to go, you can, but the Purple Imperial City is a bit boring. It's all right. I'm curious what the demonic Eye Sacred Clan's spatial realm looks like. Unable to resist Yi Yao's good intentions, Chu Hen did not insist. He looked at Li Wushang. It's fine, right? It's fine, Li Wushang replied. Alright, then you two can come with me to Ziyu City. With that, Chu Hen turned to Long Qingyang, Su Yorong, and the rest. Big brother, the Sacred Clan Conference has just ended, so the Dragonblood Sacred Clan shouldn't dare to do anything so soon. But you have to be careful. If anything happens, immediately send someone to inform me or Mengchang. Don't worry. I'll take care of it, Long Qingyang said. Alright, then we'll leave now. After some reminders, Chu Hen, Li Wushang, Yi Yao, and Long Xuanxuang set off on their journey back to the demonic Eye Sacred Clan. A few days later, Ziyu City. This time, the demonic Eye Sacred Clan's attitude towards Chu Hen's arrival was completely different. The higher-ups of the clan all came to welcome him. Rao Filwan, Li Kuan, Xia Guang and the others arrived as well. Even to the two outsiders, Yi Yao and Long Xuanxuang, they were quite friendly. Where's fourth elder? In a simple and unadorned hall. Everyone was present except for the fourth elder. He's at the Violet Reborn Pond at the back of the mountain, go look for him, Rao Filwan said. Alright. Chu Hen nodded, and then he turned around and said to Li Kuan and the others, help me look after my second sister and little Yao. I will. Li Kuan smiled gently. Big brother Chu Hen, you don't have to worry about us. The Purple Imperial City is quite big. Sister Xuanxuang and I can adapt to it by ourselves. Alright, do as you wish. And Long Xuanxuang also nodded. Then, Chu Hen left the hall alone, and headed towards the back of the mountain, according to Li Wushang's instructions. Chu Hen moved in the air, riding the wind as he flew. He passed by numerous imposing and magnificent buildings in the Violet Imperial City, and finally arrived at a group of mountains with verdant hills and limpid water. The mountain range was like a pillar supporting the sky. The undulating mountains and forests were like the long river of stars that spilled on the ground. Soon, Chu Hen sensed the aura of the fourth elder. He passed through 2 canyons, and then arrived above a stream. Looking down at the bottom of the stream, a clear pool first entered Chu Hen's eyes. The pool was not wide. It was only 50 to 60 meters wide. But the water quality was excellent. The clear blue water wasn't polluted at all, giving people a very serene feeling. The pool was surrounded by steep and smooth mountain walls. And on the north side, there was a strange dao platform. The dao platform was not wide, but the structure was very exquisite. There were railings carved with white jade on both sides. On the flat rock wall behind the dao platform, there was a pattern of a pair of eyes glowing with an evil aura. The huge eyes were demonic and evil, like the eyes of the demon god. The fourth elder was standing next to the pool at the edge of the dao platform. Seeing Chu Hen coming, he raised his old eyes slightly and waved his hand. Whoosh, with a rapid flow of air, Chu Hen's figure flashed, and he steadily landed next to the fourth elder. Are you done with the matters outside? The fourth elder opened his mouth and said this. Chu Hen was stunned at first, and then nodded with a little doubt. May I know why the fourth elder asked me to come here? This is one of the cultivation places of the demon Eye Emperor, the fourth elder said. Chu Hen was stunned. He looked around again. The environment in the stream was very beautiful. Although it was surrounded by steep mountain walls, it did not feel stuffy at all. Even at the edge of the pond, one could vaguely feel the cool breeze of the mountain stream blowing in through the gaps between the rocks at the edge of the pond. This place can really calm people down. Chu Hen tried to feel it and said. The fourth elder smiled slightly. But, Chu Hen paused and then continued, I still don't understand why the fourth elder asked me to come here. Look down. The fourth elder replied. Look down? Chu Hen looked at the pool in front of him. The fourth elder nodded and confirmed. With some confusion, Chu Hen could not help but take a few steps forward. Then, he stood next to the pool, and looked at the pool in confusion. A gentle breeze blew, and ripples appeared on the surface of the pool. Chu Hen observed carefully. The clear water revealed a bit of coldness, and he could vaguely see a few schools of fish that were as thin as a finger. But other than that, there was nothing special. However, just as Chu Hen was about to look away, a strange space rhythm quietly rippled in the depths of the pool. Suddenly, an inexplicable throbbing rushed into Chu Hen's mind without any warning. In an instant, Chu Hen's dark and deep eyes quietly turned into a pair of demonic purple eyes. Li. With a sharp sound, the scene in front of Chu Hen rapidly unfolded and overlapped. Everywhere his eyes looked, it was like passing through layers of cylindrical whirlpools. Through the layers of water, Chu Hen's eyes directly reached the bottom of the pool that was thousands of feet deep. At the bottom of the deep pool, tens of thousands of talisman patterns intertwined like a mysterious constellation hidden in the vast stars. Especially mysterious and luxurious light intertwined into mysterious and unpredictable complex patterns. And, in the center of the ancient talisman array, a halo lingering with a dense purple mist was suspended in it. Chu Hen's pupils shrank slightly, and the power of the demonic eyes slowly passed through the purple mist and tried to invade the inside of the halo. In the next moment, a more powerful wave of air trembled and invaded the depths of Chu Hen's soul. The aura that made people feel infinite awe and tremble immediately occupied Chu Hen's mind. Chu Hen's face suddenly changed dramatically. He saw that the moment the halo opened, a purple demonic eye impressively reflected in Chu Hen's mind. In the depths of the purple eye, 9 black dots slowly chased and rotated, like the stars that moved around the sun. Chu Hen's heart suddenly shrank, and he felt his scalp go numb, and the blood flow in his body accelerated sharply. He subconsciously took a few steps back. A pair of purple eyes stared at the fourth elder in front of him with astonishment. The latter looked at Chu Hen's slightly pale handsome face with incomparable seriousness. His throat gently moved, and he spat out a few words in a heavy and clear voice. That is, the eyes of the demonic eye emperor. Chapter 1669. That's the demonic eye emperor's eye. The fourth elder's tone was deep, as if every word he spoke contained the weight of a mountain. Chu Hen's expression changed again and again. He squinted his eyes in shock and suspicion as he looked at the fourth elder. The fourth elder nodded slightly and looked elsewhere as he slowly explained to Chu Hen. Back then, the demonic eye emperor and emperor had a battle on Mount Tianwang in the Firmament Palace. Both of them did not have a good ending. The fate of being enemies for 10,000 years was determined by that battle. In that battle, not only did the demonic eye emperor and emperor both die, they even destroyed one of each other's eyes before they died. Both die. Hearing these 4 words, Chu Hen's heart couldn't help but faintly tighten. Although he did not personally witness the battle between the 2 emperors, he could totally imagine the hatred and resentment that was produced after the battle. Looking at the silent Chu Hen, the fourth elder's eyes flashed with helplessness. He then said, "To be honest, the grudges of the previous generation shouldn't have been carried over to your generation. I didn't ask you to come here today to expose the grudges between the 2 clans and the crimes they committed. Everyone knows that there's a war in troubled times. Whether it's Emperor Bai or our demonic eye emperor, there's no absolute, right or wrong. At least from what I can see, she has nothing to do with what happened back then." Hearing the fourth elder's words, Chu Hen's heart calmed down a little. There was also a hint of relief in his eyes. "The fourth elder asked me to inherit the demonic eye emperor's power?" Chu Hen asked directly. "That's right, but not entirely correct. Oh! Don't be hasty. Listen to me slowly, and..." Chu Hen's eyebrows overflowed with some seriousness. "Although you've secured the demonic eye Saint clan's position by winning the sacred clan convention this time, the troublesome matter will not end just because of this, after all. He was the oldest and most experienced old monster in the demonic eye Saint clan. The fourth elder was older, but his heart was clearer. He could see things more clearly than anyone else." "You mean the Thunder Saint clan?" Chu Hen asked. The fourth elder affirmed, "We can be sure that the Thunder Saint clan will be the first to bear the brunt. Won't the other strongest Saint clans interfere?" After asking, Chu Hen felt that he had asked the question in vain. The situation of the 10 strongest sacred clans was complicated to begin with. Under the seemingly peaceful exterior, there were actually undercurrents surging. Take the Sacred Race Convention this time as an example. Every race wanted to stop the Reincarnation Saint clan from winning the championship so that the Reincarnation Emperor could control the Celestial Dharch token and become the ruler of the human race. Meanwhile, the emperors of the Antiquities Sacred Race, the Dragon Blood Sacred Race, and the other races also had ulterior motive. The conflicts between the various saint clans were something that could not be seen, but it was something that could not be thought of. Right now, due to the Sacred Race Convention's extraordinary pressure on the Demon Pupil Sacred Clan, the secret that Chu Hen possessed the Chaotic Body and the Demon Pupil Sacred Body, the two shocking bloodline boundaries, had already been made public. Especially when it was revealed that his parents were Chu Rantian and Li Jixia. Chu Hen must have attracted the attention of the other sacred clans. He was such a monster. He believed that there would not be anyone who would dare to let Chu Hen continue to grow. Although it was impossible to guess what the emperors of the strongest sacred clans were thinking, the Thunder Saint clan would definitely not sit still. So you want to use the Demon Pupil Emperor's eyes to quickly increase your strength to fight against the Thunder Emperor? Chu Hen's expression was solemn. The fourth elder nodded, a hint of guilt in his murky eyes. I know that you have to bear a lot, but I really can't find a second suitable person. Before this, the Demon Pupil Sacred Race had put almost all their hopes on Li Kuan. However, because of the disaster the Demon Pupil Sacred Race was facing, the clan's resources were too scarce. Although Li Kuan's bloodline wasn't weak, it was difficult for him to carry the flag. Coupled with the pressure on his shoulders, Li Kuan almost died at the hands of the Thunder Kuan during the Sacred Race Conference. Therefore, the Demon Pupil Sacred Race's only hope rested on Chu Hen's shoulders. Chu Hen didn't say much. His gaze turned to the pond in front of him again. The deep pond water exuded a trace of coolness, and light flickered faintly at the bottom of the pond. It seemed to contain everything and contained a vast galaxy. Right now, Chu Hen was at the peak of the Quasi-Emperor realm. Naturally, he couldn't fight against the Thunder Emperor. Even if he entered the Emperor realm, he wouldn't be a match for a great emperor. However, the most important thing was that Chu Hen could summon the Heart Beast. Once he entered the Emperor realm, he would definitely be able to control the Heart Beast's power further. Even if he couldn't defeat the Thunder Emperor, he would at least be able to put up a fight. I wonder if the Demon Pupil Emperor's eyes can help me break through the limits of the Emperor realm? Chu Hen murmured worriedly. After all, this concerned the survival of the Demon Pupil Sacred Race, and the pressure Chu Hen felt was much greater than any other time in the past. The fourth elder stared at Chu Hen's young and handsome face solemnly. There's a door of profound secrets hidden in that eye. Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. The door of profound principles? Chu Hen raised an eyebrow. His eyes were filled with confusion. Following that, the fourth elder explained everything to Chu Hen in great detail, word by word. That is the strongest legacy that the Demon Pupil Emperor left for his descendants. As the saying goes, the mountain is unpredictable, and the water is unpredictable. Even though it had always been at its peak in the past 10,000 years, all the Almighties understood one thing, and that was that no powerful force or group could last forever. Especially after witnessing the fall of the Chaos God clan, the Demon Pupil Emperor paid more attention to preparing for a rainy day. Therefore, the Demonic Eye Emperor used his supreme eye power to set up a forbidden technique in his eyes a long time ago. The forbidden technique is called the Profound Door. Inside the Profound Door is the eye technique that the Demonic Eye Emperor has developed after 10,000 years of comprehension and research. If you're able to comprehend the profoundness within it, you'll definitely benefit immensely, An eye skill that was developed after 10,000 years of research and understanding, and the name of the demon pupil emperor. Chu Hen's heart trembled. This was truly an unimaginably huge inheritance of treasures. Why wait until now? Asked Chu Hen. Since the demon pupil emperor had left behind such a shocking legacy, Li Kuan wouldn't have lost to the Thunder Kuan if it was given to him. However, the fourth elder shook his head. Because there's only one chance. Oh! The only ones who know about the Door of Profound Secrets are me and the other 3 elders who died in the battle. Other than keeping it a top secret, sealing the 10,000 years of inheritance energy in the Door of Profound Secrets has also exhausted a huge amount of energy. It doesn't matter if it's opened or not, the eye will self-destruct if it's touched. Chu Hen realized the seriousness of the matter when he heard the fourth elder's words. Although Emperor Demon Eye had used his supreme power to seal his powerful inheritance in the demonic eye he had left behind, he was unable to preserve it for eternity. Moreover, judging from the fourth elder's tone, the Door of Profound Principles might not be fully opened. There was clearly a risk involved. Chu Hen felt even more pressured when he thought about this. If he made a mistake, not only would he not be able to obtain the secret left behind by the Demon Pupil Emperor, he might even lose the last eye of the Demon Pupil Emperor. However, he had no choice but to release the arrow. With regards to the Demon Eye Saint Clan situation, Chu Hen no longer had any way out. Then, he let out a deep breath. His eyes glowed with a strange light. I know what to do now. The fourth elder nodded meaningfully. It's good if it succeeds, but if it doesn't, there's no need to force it, Chu Hen smiled. I understand. With that, Chu Hen's gaze returned to the deep pool. At the bottom of the dark and ice-cold clear pond, thousands of complicated lights flickered, as if there were stars hidden in the vast universe. Over there, a demon god's eye that had been sealed for a long time, slowly emitted a shocking aura.